Bitcoin is trading at 4.3 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $10,267. Antiwar.com reports during her scheduled Wednesday visit to Saudi Arabia, British Prime Minister Theresa May says she intends to challenge the kingdom on a number of human rights abuses and in particular will demand an end to the Saudi-led blockade of Yemen. Though international aid organizations have been deeply critical of the blockade, this will be the first time a top foreign leader has demanded the Saudis stop the blockade, which has been in place for 2.5 years and is killing growing numbers of Yemeni civilians. Britain has been selling growing amounts of arms to the Saudis throughout the war, which has raised concerns among some officials that Britain is effectively complicit in the war crimes going on in Yemen. A similar concern exists with U.S. support for the Saudi war, as the U.S. has sold the Saudis even more arms and has participated directly in the conflict and blockade. This concern has been expressed by some in Congress, but so far the U.S. leadership appears unmoved to limit their involvement in Saudi actions.
For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals. Gold, silver, platinum, and palladium. They don't feed the banks. They're Bitcoin preferred and have removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co.
UPI reports a former employee of a U.S. government contractor in Afghanistan who pled guilty to accepting kickbacks from a subcontractor in exchange for assistance in obtaining government contracts was sentenced to 21 months in prison on Tuesday. In July, 56-year-old Nebraska McAlpine of Smyrna, Georgia, admitted that he and an Afghan executive agreed to a deal that would give McAlpine cash in exchange for no-bid contracts. He pocketed more than $250,000 in the scheme. In addition to 21 months in federal prison, McAlpine will serve 3 years of supervised release and 100 hours of community service. The Department of Justice said as a result of the kickback scheme, the prime contractor paid over $1.6 million to the subcontractor to assist in maintaining the Afghan Ministry of the Interior ultra-high-frequency radio communication system in Kabul.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 is a nightmare to the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411, because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Get it today at getcell411.com.
Reuters reports more than a dozen former members of a New York fraternity chapter pled guilty on Tuesday to reduced charges and were sentenced to probation in the 2013 hazing death of a Baruch College freshman during an initiation ritual in Pennsylvania's Pocono Mountains. Chun Michael Ding, who was 19, died from head injuries while pledging to become a member of Pi Delta Psi, an Asian American cultural fraternity at Baruch in Manhattan. 17 former fraternity members appeared in Monroe County Court of Common Pleas in Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania on Tuesday, some accompanied by their parents. As a result of the plea bargains, 15 of them pled guilty to reduced charges, and the cases of the final 2 were continued. Judge Margarita Patty Worthington told the group, "You were better than this," urging their members to learn to think for themselves, saying, "Be individuals and do the right thing going forward. Don't get caught up in groupthink." Prosecutor Kim Metzger said 13 more defendants were expected to plead guilty on Wednesday, including Andy Ming, former National Fraternity president and brother of U.S. Representative Grace Ming of New York. 4 other young men linked to the case pled guilty in May to be accomplices to voluntary manslaughter and other charges. Last week, the Pi Delta Psi fraternity was convicted of charges including aggravated assault and involuntary manslaughter, but acquitted of third-degree murder and voluntary manslaughter, both felonies. Prosecutors and defense lawyers said it was the first U.S. conviction of a fraternity in a pledge hazing death. Ding died after being injured in a ritual known as the glass ceiling at a home the fraternity rented in the Poconos about 100 miles west of New York City. During the incident, he was blindfolded, wore a 30-pound backpack, and ran a gauntlet of fraternity members who tackled and knocked him down on the snow-covered ground in December 2013. The college students waited for more than an hour before driving him to a hospital. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
After the USDA unveiled its updated roommate food pyramid earlier this week, Department of Agriculture spokesman Michael Lowry spoke to Onion reporters about just how many servings of someone else's food roommates should be consuming on a day-to-day basis.
Under the new guidelines, roommates should eat at least 4 portions of someone else's grains per day, including 1 to 2 cups of already opened cereal. Of course, this is all in addition to the 8 to 16 swigs of milk and orange juice spaced out over a few days.
Lowry emphasized that many aspects of the new roommate food pyramid are unchanged from the previous version, including a recommended daily intake of 24 ounces of lunch meat straight from the bag and 5 to 7 weekly finger scoops of Erica's peanut butter.
Remember to limit your intake of sugar and sweets from half-open containers, especially if they're Jessica's, because she'll definitely notice.
For more on this story, check this week's Onion Review.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can bring up anything that you want. You may dial toll-free to 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. And we've also got Skype in case you'd like to Skype into the show. You'll almost sound like you're sitting here in the studio with us if you do that. Skype username is LRN.FM. Joining you in our studio here in beautiful Keene, New Hampshire tonight on an unseasonably warm day in New Hampshire, it's Ian.
Mike.
And Will.
All right, so of course you can join us and bring up whatever you want, but Bitcoin is...
What a day.
It has been an amazing day in the world of Bitcoin. It hit almost $11,500, I think, at some point today.
11, almost 700.
11,700.
Crash like a stone.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. All the people who said that it was a bubble, they were right?
Somebody on Bitfinex, apparently from Europe, because they sold their Bitcoins for euros,
Okay.
Dumped a whole ton of Bitcoins.
How much Bitcoin are we talking about?
Thousands.
Wow.
And
wow.
And that was where it started, and it plummeted down to like $8,500
It did.
for Bitcoin. And then within an hour, that
it was back up to 10,000.
Well, it had recovered to about 8,800 to 9,000, but all the other exchanges around the world started plummeting at the same time because people started panicking.
Panic sell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like Coinbase, their GDAX exchange went down to 8,800. And
crashed,
yeah.
didn't it? People were complaining they couldn't even log into Coinbase today.
Yeah. I was kind of annoyed because I was ready to buy some and I couldn't get in.
You weren't the only one. We were at the Bitcoin meetup today, and there was a couple of newbies that were there, and one of them was like wanting to get into Bitcoin, and I said, well, it looks like the price is crashing. Today'd be a good day to do it. And then he tried to go home and do it, and Coinbase was down.
Yeah.
So.
I was actually going to
there's
come
people
down.
like me who can't even get in
To an exchange.
Yeah, I can't even get into an exchange. Like I've spent almost 2.5 months.
About 2 months.
And now we're to the point where I'm a part of an exchange and I have been accepted. But
they want more ID or something.
I've sent them so much information. I've sent them so I wouldn't doubt it. I've sent them so much information, it's absolutely insane. And then they're like, okay, we are going to open the doors for you, and we are approving you for the biggest, baddest, best. And then the first transfer you're going to send, it's like, we need more documentation.
Yep. Yep, it's true. You've shown me the whole thing.
We want a scan of your butthole.
Well, the good news is there's now more competition in the
Here's
world.
like a fingerprint.
Apparently, the world's largest exchange by volume is called Bitflyer. And they just yesterday threw open the doors on a U.S. domestic exchange. So they're from Japan originally, but they've jumped through whatever regulatory hurdles they need to in order to operate inside the United States.
Cool.
So up until now, there have really only been 4, I think, Bitcoin exchanges that are domestic that somebody inside the United States could send a wire transfer to and then buy Bitcoin with that.
Well, we got Coinbase.
Coinbase has theirs, which is called GDAX.
Yeah.
There's, well, no, I'm talking about Bittrex isn't a U.S. dollar deposit exchange to my knowledge.
They're based in the U.S.
No, but I'm talking about the ones that you can send money, dollars into. I think Bittrex has talked about that, but I don't know if they actually have that.
They're
option.
actually, I think they're implementing it, and a lot of people are outside the U.S. are really upset right now because they're implementing system-wide know your customer rules on all, and so nobody can get any money out of Bittrex until they fully identify.
Huh. Okay.
Kraken's down, it looks like, too.
Yeah, so the exchanges are getting swamped today with activity, and they can't even handle it. They're going down. In the United States, as you mentioned, there's Coinbase with GDAX. There's one called ItBit. There's one called Gemini. And then there's this Bitflyer one. And I feel like there's one that I'm missing. But not very many. There really aren't that many options here in the U.S. for people to go and purchase. Oh, Kraken, which is actually a euro-based exchange, but they've got a domestic deposit option for people in the United States. So that's pretty much it, which means there's not much competition, and so these exchanges are just as slow as they can be. I mean, Will, you talked about how it's taken you 2 months to try to get through the sign-up process at some of these exchanges. Some you've just been rejected out of hand.
Yeah.
There's one of them where they're saying you're going to get in.
One told me I didn't know who I was.
Yep. We're sorry. We can't give you an account because you don't know yourself.
Yes.
Is the claim.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, it would be great to see more exchanges, but unfortunately there's all this government regulation that these guys have to jump through. So the Bitflyer people, they went and they got the New York Bit license. They're one of only a handful of organizations that have gone and jumped through those hoops, which costs, I understand it, at least $100,000 to get this thing.
Yeah, it's pricey.
And so, I mean, I'm completely against the Bit license, but it's New York State. They're the least free state in the entire country, and so nobody should be surprised that New York, of all the states, is the one that came up with the idea to license Bitcoin exchanges and make them jump through extra hoops, which, of course, ended up driving business outside of New York. A lot of companies closed down entirely and or restricted access. They won't even do business with a customer in New York.
Yeah.
So if you're in New York State and you're not using a VPN to make it look like you aren't in New York State, and you try to go to shapeshift.io, which is a website that lets you easily convert from one cryptocurrency to another without an account, Shapeshift will detect your IP address and say, oh, sorry, you're in New York State. Here's why we're not going to be doing business with you today. And then they explain the bit license.
That's like a New Jersey person trying to get a concealed weapons license in another state.
What do you mean?
Well, New Jersey is the most restrictive gun laws in the country.
Is it really?
Oh,
I knew it was bad, but I didn't know it was the worst.
Gun bans. It's impossible to get a concealed weapons license. If you have a concealed weapons license in another state and you somehow get detoured across state lines into New Jersey and you get pulled over, you can be arrested, even if you are legally licensed in this other state.
Wow.
And this has happened to people from Pennsylvania and Maryland and Delaware. And it's just a nightmare for people. And
so avoid New Jersey at all costs.
Yeah. Maryland, New Jersey, New York City. There was the story a couple years ago about the guy who he went into New York City and someone said, oh, well, you really shouldn't have your firearm with you. It's against the law to have it with you in the city. So he was like, oh, well, I'm a law-abiding, bootlicking, citizen. Let me go turn in my firearm to the police department because I'm not supposed to have it so that they can hold it for me.
It's worse than that.
They were going to put him in prison for 12 years.
It's worse than that. The police in New York and at the airports in New Jersey coordinate with the transportation the TSA to find out which passengers are switching planes in airports in New York and New Jersey, and they force them to cancel the flights, so those passengers are forced to check their luggage out to spend the night. And because they check their luggage out, if they're flying with firearms, they can get arrested for illegal possession while in the state. And this is
some entrapment, something, setting it up.
And of course, in order to move to New Hampshire, as you and I have done within the last decade, you have to drive through New York and
Maryland.
That means that if you're moving up here with a gun,
rent a plane, man, fly into Manchester.
We went around the city because we didn't want to deal with the.
Yeah, but you're still in New York.
True.
Yeah, but it's less of a pain when you're going through the state.
Is that right? Yeah. Going through the city, the laws are way more restrictive.
Yeah. Upstate is actually, if
I've heard it's nice.
If New York were to divide, like in Westchester County, the upstate New York would actually be a really nice place.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. I've heard a lot of good things about it. I just don't want to go to New York bad enough to find out.
Right.
You know, I drove through it once on the way to Toronto.
If I didn't do business there, because I have suppliers there for the clothing, like when we do festivals and you see that really pretty Indian clothing we have, I have a supplier that I get it from that's right there, like in the heart of Jackson Heights. So I have no choice but to go to the city at least once a year.
So coming up, people are on the attack, of course, against Bitcoin. I mean, nobody likes a winner in the old banking business, and they are coming out of the woodwork, going up against Bitcoin. There's some Nobel Prize winner who's on the attack. We'll share that with you coming up here, and you can share your thoughts with us. Our toll-free number is 855-450, free like freedom. Plus, apparently, NASDAQ is going to be adding Bitcoin. We'll tell you about it.
Don't do what I did and run out. If it's working, don't quit. Why would you stop? Why undo all the good that's been accomplished?
You've got to feed them right for life.
Dynavite is nutrition.
If I ever took Roy off of Dynavite...
No.
When I get to about 3/4...
When I get down to the bottom of my box of Dynavite, oh no, I've got a couple more scoops. It's time to place my order. Dynavite.com. DINOVITE.com.
859-428-1000.
Order a 90-day supply of Dynavite for your dog this week.
We'll send you a bottle of Super Mega Fish Oil free.
Packed with omega-3, DHA, and EPA fatty acids.
Super Mega is great for your dog's immune system, healthy skin, and soft, shiny fur.
Try Super Omega Fish Oil.
Free this week at Dynavite.com.
Just feed your dog right. Use Dynavite.
Dynavite for life.
859-428-1000.
859-428-1000.
DINOVITE.com.
I got my Blink home security system delivered right to my door. I downloaded the app and it walked me right through the easy setup. Even with my complicated router system, I was done in like 10 minutes. Now it notifies me whenever something moves in front of the wireless cameras, or I can just check it whenever I want right from my phone. And I got you a deal. Get 3 Blink cams for what the other guys charge you for 1, plus an extra 10% off. Visit blinkprotect.com/FTL. blinkprotect.com/FTL. blinkprotect.com/FTL.
Do you want to help build a better financial system for everyone? Join Dash. Dash is digital cash, a digital money platform designed to replace cash and help people manage their own wealth. It's fast and easy. Fees are low and transactions are confirmed instantly. Dash is decentralized, run by users who earn rewards for helping run the network and make governance decisions. Help people take control over their financial future today. Find out more at dash.org.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com. Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447.
There's no better app for tracking the value of cryptocurrencies than CoinCap. I've had a lot of apps for tracking Bitcoin, but none that's ever been able to track 500 digital assets at once. Their best feature is the Altfolio. I love this thing. You enter how many Bitcoins, Ether, Dash, Doge, or whatever else you have, and it tells you how much your crypto is worth. You can watch yourself get rich. If you have crypto, go right now to coincap.io, or you can use the Apple Store or Google Play to get the app. I love CoinCap. coincap.io.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
Free Talk Live. Dial toll free to join us here on the radio. Our number 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We got one Nobel Prize winner, Joseph Stiglitz, who is attacking Bitcoin. He says it ought to be outlawed. We'll give you his quote here in moments. Another guy, Wall Street magnate John Bogle, says avoid Bitcoin like the plague. Doesn't sound like particularly good advice, but
I apparently have cooties over here.
We'll tell you more about it coming up here, and you can share your thoughts with us. Our number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. And, of course, Free Talk Live is brought to you by Bitcoin.com. If you're new to Bitcoin, this is your first week really getting serious about thinking about it now that it has eclipsed over $10,000 US per Bitcoin. It's dropped back down a little bit since then in the $9,000 range this afternoon. It's definitely not too late to learn about it. It's definitely not too late to get in because, remember, you don't have to buy an entire Bitcoin. You can buy $20 worth. You can buy $100 worth. You can buy a small amount of it. And then usually the best advice is to just hold on. Go to Bitcoin.com and get all the details about what is Bitcoin. Again, that's Bitcoin.com. They've also got a cool forum and some neat tools that you can use on the site, like a converter. It makes it easy. If you go to tools.bitcoin.com, you can instantly convert between Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash and the US dollar and other currencies. So check that out, Bitcoin.com. This, according to Bloomberg.com, there's actually a video clip here from Bloomberg Television with this guy, Nobel Prize-winning economist, supposedly, Joseph Stiglitz. Here's what he had to say about the world's most successful and first decentralized cryptocurrency, Bitcoin.
Were to be regulated, could it be viable?
Look at one of the main functions of government is to create currency.
Okay, before we even get into his answer, the question that she asked suggests that Bitcoin is not viable right now.
It was loaded. The question was loaded right off the bat.
She's suggesting that if Bitcoin were to be regulated, then could it be viable? Again, suggests that it's not viable now. So the fact that it's $10,000 per Bitcoin is apparently not evidence of its viability.
Well, not only that, but she's saying that the only way it should or could be seen as viable is if the state says this is how you're allowed to use it. Like until the state
its blessing.
Well, it's not so much the blessing as it is control.
Yeah.
Once the state controls it, now it's legitimate. When for people like us, the fact the state doesn't control it is what makes it legitimate. As soon as the state is in control of it, it is no longer something I am interested in being involved in.
Absolutely.
Yep.
I'll move all of my holdings and efforts to another currency that's not controlled or regulated by the state. That's the entire point.
And that's the good news about cryptocurrencies. Even if Bitcoin becomes some sort of state-controlled thing, which seems impossible, but then again, some of the Bitcoin core programmers apparently love themselves the state.
Everybody thought Uber was the greatest thing since sliced bread, and now they're involved in the crafting of regulations in a state like Texas. They became the very demon that they set out to fight.
They're working on their flying taxis. They're working with NASA on developing a national traffic management system to integrate flying cars and roadways so that cars can take off and land.
See how fast the green dragon of money can take people who have convictions and values and absolutely rob them of those convictions and values and turn them into the very thing that they hate and fight the most.
I found that being in the startup world like I am, I found that companies that happens to, no matter how libertarian their founders may be, the problem is when they bring in venture capital firms,
they have to sell out
that they give too much ownership to.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and a lot of those firms wind up having their hands in all kinds of dirty pots, like Accel Partners, for instance, which backed Facebook, which backed Second Life.
Isn't that the CIA or something?
That's a CIA front. Yeah. And InQtel is another venture capital firm. They're the front for the NSA. So there's other firms like that do for like the UK for the MI6 and GCHQ. And
and then they come in there and they say, well, we're going to have to suggest you do it this way, or else we're pulling out.
Yeah,
right?
and or they're pulling out, or they're just going to dump their stock on the private equity markets and ruin your market value.
Well, and that's why a lot of these old money people are against cryptocurrencies, not just Bitcoin, but Ethereum, for instance, which is allowing a lot of fundraising for projects of a decentralized nature. So the initial currency offerings that are going on, and there's this craze for these things. Some of them are probably total scams from top to bottom, but some of them seem to be legitimate. They're allowing funding to happen without having to go to VCs, to go to these venture capitalists.
A lot of the old, like the family offices, which are essentially high net worth individuals who set up management groups to preserve their family wealth through the generations, they are actually starting to get interested in cryptocurrency.
Mm-hmm.
And because they are starting to recognize that we're in a transformative period in history, just like the beginning of the industrial age was.
Yeah, sure.
And so they're, just as the aristocrats back then lost their wealth and the industrialists who started out as just middle-class merchants became the wealthy class, they see a similar sort of thing happening
now
here.
The techno nerds are going to become the wealthy class.
Yes.
Well, not just techno nerds, because I'm not a techno nerd at all.
Sure.
I'm
talking about the people who got in the year 2009, 2010.
Bitcoin is taking these things that used to be like if I wanted to do trading the way that I do and in the volume that I do it, I would need like a master's degree or a business degree from some big school, and then to kiss the right butt and the right ring to get the right job at Morgan Stanley.
But now all you need is an email address and a driver's license.
Yeah, man, I need an email address, a driver's license, and $100, and I can, or like in my personal case, $360, and in a week I can have 1,000 just from trading and moving things around.
Or you can lose it.
You can't lose it, and I have lost amounts of. I lost $3,000 out of a $12,000 investment that I made a month ago, but made all that back in day trading in less than a week.
Yeah,
and you can do that.
I've been doing
now.
that this past 2 weeks. It's been fantastic.
Exactly.
Without having to ask anyone's permission.
Exactly. And I didn't have to run and kiss all these rings and get involved in all these things. Right. And I don't have to have an $80,000 degree that I'm going to spend the rest of my life trying to pay back.
Yeah.
So back to this
normal guys like me and you can now get involved in these things
that were scares people like Stiglitz.
Up on this big pedestal.
This
like
guy wants his ring to be
here.
kissed. He wants you to kiss his butt, and he's mad. He's mad that all of this money is going around his hands rather than through it.
It reminds me of Abu Jahl, who hated the fact that there was a leveling of society going on in 6th century Arabia. That was what he was, the father of ignorance, because the apple cart that kept him and his cronies up here was being upset. He did the same exact thing.
Yep,
History
same old story.
Itself.
Toll-free number here, 855-450, free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. You can join us here. More comments from this old money guy, Joseph Stiglitz, here in moments. He's scared. It's Free Talk Live.
Want revenge on the common housefly? Well, after 10,000 years, someone has finally come up with a better way. The Bug Assault, a miniaturized shotgun, which utilizes ordinary table salt as ammunition. Non-toxic and no batteries required. So much fun, you'll forget you have a wife and kids. $39.95 and free economy shipping. Use discount code GCN and get an extra 10% off your purchase at bugassault.com. Makes the perfect stocking stuffer. Get your Bug Assault today.
This is Dan Pilla. Do you owe the IRS money you can't pay? Are tax debts crippling you? I've defended people from the IRS for over 30 years. I've helped thousands, and I can help you too. I wrote the book on IRS settlement, and I'm telling you, there's no such thing as a hopeless case. Call 800-34-NO-TAX to finally get free of IRS debt. With the IRS's new programs, there's never been a better time to solve your problem. Call 800-34-NO-TAX. That's 800-34-NO-TAX, or my website, danpilla.com.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agristhosting.com.
When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.info, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit libertylobby.info today to find out more.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com. Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. You may dial toll free to join us right here. Our number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom, 855-450-3733. We do have Skype. And you may Skype into the show here at Skype username LRN.FM. Want to let you know about the Blink home security system. And you can put it in your office too. They won't care. Go to blinkprotect.com/FTL. You can get yours there. It's super easy to set this thing up. Unlike pretty much every other home security system I've ever seen, you don't have to drill any holes and run wires with the Blink home security system. There's only one wire, and that's the power cable for the hub, basically, that you plug in. You use your Wi-Fi enabled device like your smartphone or tablet to get everything all set up. You pop the batteries in that are included with the cameras. You put those where you want them, and you do a little configuration. You're all set within a matter of moments. Go to blinkprotect.com/FTL to get yours. You can get 3 Blink cams for what some of the other guys charge for 1 camera. Go to blinkprotect.com/FTL, like Free Talk Live. As we continue here, we're sharing some video from Bloomberg with this supposed economist, Joseph Stiglitz, Nobel Prize winner, apparently, who is on the attack against Bitcoin. This, again, the Bloomberg television clip here. We'll play for you.
Bitcoin is successful only because of its potential for circumvention, lack of oversight.
Well, that's certainly one reason.
I'll agree with that. Yeah,
a lot of people, especially in the early days, got into Bitcoin. The early adopters of Bitcoin tended to be libertarian, anarchist, voluntarist, geek.
But he doesn't mean those type of people. He means the money launderers, the drug smugglers, the terrorists.
They don't use Bitcoin anymore. They quit using Bitcoin a long time ago. They don't want to pay the fees.
Well, they use cash too, drug dealers and money launderers.
A lot more, yeah. And banks. Maybe we should just outlaw banks.
Sure.
So it seems to me it ought to be outlawed. It doesn't serve any socially useful function.
Wait, what? Okay, so it doesn't serve any social use function?
It sounds like my grandmother used to tell us that we were being rude, crude, and socially unacceptable.
I mean, Bitcoin is incredibly useful because it takes away the gatekeepers. As you were talking about earlier, Will, you're able to go and do day trading of cryptocurrency with nobody's permission really required to do that. There are even websites that will allow you to trade cryptocurrency like shapeshift.io that you don't even have to log into. So they don't even know who you are. They might know your IP address, but you can hide that behind,
other than that, you don't exist.
Right. So that is one of the things that it does best is it breaks down the barriers to the financial world. There are literally, billions of people in the world who have either zero or low access to banking, accounts and technologies. This allows anybody with a smartphone or anybody with a tablet or a computer to start doing things that they never would have been able to do before. I mean, that alone is one thing Bitcoin accomplishes that is revolutionary.
You're not sticking to your place in society.
Well, not only that. Okay, so Bitcoin, at least from what I'm seeing, and you guys know that. I mean, I do a lot of my work internationally, and what I'm seeing personally is that Bitcoin is creating a technological revolution in the third world. In these countries that they barely have electricity, well, now they have solar cell phones. You know what I'm saying? And all that's fueled by this desire to use cryptocurrencies, because these cryptocurrencies are quite often more valuable than their currencies
and
are.
A lot more reliable.
And way more reliable. And
I mean, what's Zimbabwe inflation rate up to? 10 million%?
And I mean, you're seeing Bitcoin at $17,000 in Zimbabwe right now.
Yeah.
Bitcoin is selling for over $17,000 American in Zimbabwe right now. Because it's seen as valuable. It's something that has, it's a store of value that actually holds value.
If what he said was true and it didn't have any social utility or social use, then it wouldn't be worth $10,000.
Right. Yeah. Well, you had Kenyans trying to, you literally have people in Kenya starving to death because of famine and because of poverty. And the government thinks that the most brilliant thing on earth that you can do is pass a VAT tax, which creates another barrier between these poor people and the things you need the most. Yeah. Bitcoin literally saved lives until the government was able to figure out a way to regulate around that.
I would go so far as to say that Stiglitz is being racist. Because the wrong kind of people are able to use Bitcoin without being part of their banking system. All the unbanked. They're always talking about the unbanked and trying to get the unbanked people into the system.
Yep.
And the unbanked people are like,
we don't want to be in the system.
Yeah.
We're going to use Bitcoin.
And you have these movements all over the globe now that are undermining the banking system. You have the Murabitun movement, which is global now. You have hundreds of millions of Muslims in the Murabitun movement, which is like a global return to silver currency movement. And now out of the Murabitun movement have grown all these civil disobedience movements in places like Malaysia and Pakistan and Qatar, and they're using cryptocurrencies now. So like, say I want to raise money here in the U.S. and there's a guy in Pakistan that runs like a market think tank, and he wants to send money to our mosque. If he sends me 5 cents, I'm going to have the CIA on my front doorstep knocking on the door, wanting to know why people in Pakistan are sending me money through the internet, through international wires. I mean, they're literally going to be like, "What are you doing?"
Yep.
But if he sent me a couple $1,000s with a Bitcoin,
nobody knows.
That's it. Dash or Ethereum.
You better
or
watch out for some
Litecoin
droning action there, Will.
I mean, it cuts out.
Just what we need after spending thousands of dollars renovating this house to have a drone come in and take the thing down.
It'd only be poetic.
Let Let me get back to more of this a-hole here from the banking world. We're only about a quarter into this clip.
We ought to just go back to what we always have had, and this.
We ought to just go back to what we always have had. Come on, guys.
These darn kids and their newfangled stuff.
What's with all this new money? It's all a big scam.
Back
Nobody
in my day.
Don't pay any attention to what's going on with that Bitcoin. It's just a big scam. Just go back to what you know.
We trusted our fiat money. We liked it. We loved it. We couldn't get enough of it.
Trust the banks. They've always been honest. The banks have always been on your side.
Right.
They serve a civil public purpose.
Right.
They keep our society stable. It's a bedrock of our society.
Of the banking system is to create debt, it seems like. The banks can create debt out of thin air by you going in there and wanting a loan. They are authorized by the Federal Reserve to make money that did not exist prior to you signing the loan agreement.
Well, I guess the best it could be summed up in a statement a couple of weeks ago. There was a mistake with our accounts. My wife used a card that she was supposed to use one, and she used another. And the account got overdrawn. And I went in to the lady, and I was like, I haven't done business in a bank in 10 years. And you know what else? I haven't paid an overdraft fee in 10 years.
You've been at credit unions.
I've been at credit unions, and I have not paid a single overdraft fee at all. What happened to my overdraft protection? And she goes, did you ask for it? I'm like, yes. I got raked over the coals by Wachovia in their stacking scam and lost like $3,000 in a month because of a stacking scam, because of a tuition check. And yeah, was out a lot of money over it. And so I always ask, and she goes, well, I guess that the reason why is you've been doing business you're checking with credit unions, and well, we're a bank and credit unions are nonprofit, and well, banks, we're here to make a profit. And I was just like
we're here to rip you off.
That is the most honest thing I've ever heard from a business in my life. Thank you. That was kind of refreshing and totally bone-chilling at the same time.
Not that there's anything wrong with making a profit. I mean, goddess bless them, but they are regulated so much by the federal government that they're basically just arms of the Federal Reserve. Some of them with a prettier coat of paint than others. More coming up here in moments. This is Free Talk Live.
Whether you share content as a curator or produce it as a creator, the source of your advertising revenue is often limited by intermediaries like YouTube. What if there was a way to connect content creators directly with advertisers, decentralizing attention-based market advertising transactions and putting the control back into the hands of content owners? Introducing the revolutionary Signal Token Protocol by Spective VR. Partnered with Blend Media, the largest network of 360 video content in the world, and featured on Fox Business's Innovations. Spective VR is a 360 VR streaming platform created to be the first use case and early adopter of the Signal Token Protocol, driving real use and allowing Spective to optimize their platform. SpectiveVR.com is hosting a pre-ICO for Signal tokens starting December 8th at a 40% bonus. For early access to the token sale and an exclusive 60% token bonus, sign up for the email list at SpectiveVR.com.
Have you ever wondered who the second person to discover gravity was? When you're in the mood for a treat, would you go to the second best bakery in town? Or how about the name John Breckenridge? Recognize it? If you don't, that's because he came in second to Abraham Lincoln. The firsts are first for a reason. Just how ID Stronghold was the first to create the technology to protect your credit cards from thieves with RFID chip scanners. ID Stronghold products block signals from those scanners, so thieves can't capture your critical data. Get a stronghold on your personal information and protect your family too. Don't settle for the second best wallet. Pick up ID Stronghold wallets for everyone on your list this holiday season. They're the perfect stocking stuffer, with leather wallets starting as low as $20 on Walmart.com, eBay, Amazon, and QVC. Save 10% by using coupon code PRESENT for a limited time. That's coupon code PRESENT only on IDStronghold.com. IDStronghold.com.
Are you a
report from the National Center for Education shows that an alarming 10% of U.S. high school students graduate without basic object permanence skills. According to the study, a growing number of American seniors are lagging behind their international counterparts when it comes to the crucial knowledge that things don't just disappear if you're not looking at them.
Because it exists even if your eyes can't see it. Am I making sense?
No. U.S. high schoolers have dropped to 17th in science, 25th in math, and a troubling 180th place in the basic cognitive awareness most humans develop as toddlers. Secretary of Education Arne Duncan is asking Congress to fund increased after-school disguise and reveal programs.
It's time to get the kids excited to learn the most obvious mental concepts that make us capable of functioning.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to do better. It's just I don't know how I'm supposed to learn anything if I don't even have a teacher.
I'm still here, Vanessa.
Some educators worry that too much focus placed on object permanence might take away from other important skills, such as not touching hot things that could burn you.
This is the Onion News Network.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that 1/10 of a calorie it takes to click on something. Facebook.freetalklive.com. Imagine, if you will, a virtual world, a symbiotic economy with its own currency, where you can barter your services with others. Symbi.com is a marketplace of real people exchanging skills and services, from web developers, marketers, video production specialists, and teachers of all sorts, to gaming consulting or fitness coaching. Symbi.com is a vast world of people trading freely. Take my word for it, it's an adventure you can't afford to miss. Simbi.com.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. You may dial toll free to join us on the radio. Our number here, 855-450, free like freedom. Whenever the old bankers are on the attack, it's time to listen close, not because you want to hear what they have to say, but because whatever they're talking about as a bad thing might actually be something you want to look into. In this case, they are heavily on the attack against Bitcoin. They're being trotted out on various different talking head shows, you know, from Bloomberg Television to CNBC, Fox News, wherever they can pop themselves up. They're coming out and they're claiming that Bitcoin is dangerous, that it ought to be outlawed, that you should, quote, avoid Bitcoin like the plague. We haven't gotten to that guy yet. He's some Wall Street supposed magnate. With you here tonight, it's Ian,
Mike,
and Will.
Don't forget, you can join us online over at freetalklive.com. Please head over there and get signed up for the AMP program. AMP stands for Advertise, Market, and Promote. The idea is you send $5 a month into Free Talk Live. We'll take that cash in and then invest it into Free Talk Live so we can get on more radio stations around the country, bringing new internet listeners on board. I'll be excited to announce very soon that we're going to be back in a top 5 market. I won't say which of those markets it will be, but that news hopefully will be coming out within the next week or so. So stay tuned for that. And thank you to our Free Talk Live amplifiers for helping make that continued growth possible. So please go to amp.freetalklive.com. You can get signed up there, and you get some cool perks like access to the AMP-only call-in lines, the AMP-only podcast, which doesn't have the commercials that our regular podcast does, and other special AMP-only features like the AMP-only Facebook group. You also can get a badge for our brand new Free Talk Live forum at forum.freetalklive.com, a special AMP badge that'll identify you as a supporter of Free Talk Live. So go and join the AMP program with PayPal, credit card, or you can use Bitcoin over at amp.freetalklive.com, amp.freetalklive.com. He's a Nobel Prize-winning supposed economist, Joseph Stiglitz, does not see any value in Bitcoin. In fact, he is saying that it should be banned. Let's continue with a clip from Bloomberg Television here.
We ought to just go back to what we always have had, and this is just a bubble, as several of your commentators have already pointed out.
That's right. You guys have it all figured out.
It's a bubble.
It's a bubble. Let's just go back. Brush this silly old bubble off the table. Let's go back
pump and dump
to the way things were.
It's a scam.
Is this a pump and dump? What does that mean?
Well, pump and dump is it happened with silver when silver was becoming, and this is what happens a lot of times. The banks know what we're doing. They're not stupid. You know, these.
Oh, I mean, a lot of them are pretty ignorant. I just went into a bank the other day, and they didn't know anything about Bitcoin.
Well, one thing I've noticed. That's the moron teller behind the counter.
No, I'm talking about the general manager. I'm talking about the compliance officer.
That's not the guy who's in the ear of your congressman, though.
Okay,
that's that not those guys, and that's not the guy who's got the access to the millions and billions of dollars to try to manipulate values in this way.
You don't usually see these ads for gold and silver on the TV unless the price is high. When the price is low, they aren't running those ads because they're buying it up cheap. It's only when it goes up high that they're saying, oh, you need to get into silver and gold now because the price is nice and high, and that ensures our profits.
Well, they pushed silver up over $40 an ounce at one point in time.
Yeah.
And then they pulled all of their investment out of it and left all these people holding the silver that's worth like $15 to $17 an ounce now. And what I think a lot of what I think is happening here is Bitcoin is dangerous to them. And they did this to silver when silver was becoming dangerous to them. You were actually seeing television shows where preppers were showing that they were keeping silver quarters and, oh, well, these 4 quarters are worth $20 and this kind of thing. And now all of a sudden you start seeing them pushing the value of silver up and pushing it up and pushing it up and pushing it up. And what happened was when they pulled all that out, all your mom and pops, regular, normal, everyday investors, they all panicked. And now none of them want to touch silver with a 10-foot pole. And they did the same thing with Bitcoin in the beginning when they pushed it up that very first skyrocket where it went over 700 and then they dropped it down to 2. And a lot of people lost their hats and they were terrified. You have people that are religiously against cryptocurrencies now because of that first pump.
So you believe that was some sort of manipulation?
Absolutely.
That price run up?
Because the powers that be are terrified of Bitcoin. Cryptocurrency is the ultimate threat to their continued power. So they have to shake public confidence in it. They have to do everything they can, pull out every dirty trick they've got in order to disrupt the cryptocurrency market and scare people that aren't us. Like the guys in this room, we're all like true believers. But what they're worried about is my mom, who got ripped off in the e-dinar scam and now is terrified of anything that has to do with investment in currency of any kind. So because of those kinds of things, and the bankers know that. They know if they can rattle mom and pop's investors enough, they can make cryptocurrency like an inside baseball kind of thing forever. Or at least
what you're saying is that they are so desperate to protect themselves that they're willing to pour millions, if not billions of dollars into cryptocurrency, making a bunch of geeks super wealthy.
But they're still more wealthy.
I don't think it's really the government's doing this. I think there's
I don't think it's the government
major
either.
Players.
I think it's the banksters, the big major financier types that Bitcoin
like
is
this guy.
Like this joker here.
You know, he's a professor at Columbia, but he's the co-chair of the high-level expert group on the measurement of economic performance and social progress at the Organization for Economic and Commercial Development, which is like this international group of industrialized nations. And
so Bitcoin only has about $160 billion worth of market cap, which to us is a lot of money. But what you're saying is that to these guys, that's chump change, and so they can just come in and throw a bunch of money around. But again, doesn't that benefit?
Drown it early.
Yeah.
It may benefit.
Doesn't it benefit the people who are cashing out of Bitcoin? They're getting these bankers to buy up their Bitcoins.
But it destroys trust.
It destroys trust at the lower level. Plus, the guys, the big banksters that are putting their money in, they're already 100 times what that nerd is going to be when he makes all his money. Yeah. Oh, and by the way, they're making that money too.
Yeah, because the average guy, he can day trade, maybe a quarter of a Bitcoin, maybe a tenth, and maybe get up to 1 or 2 Bitcoins if he's smart and lucky. But these guys, they come into the game with all this fiat capital, and they can buy thousands of Bitcoin easily, and that's just a rounding error.
Aren't you guys making an argument against getting into cryptocurrency? If what you're saying is that this is all manipulated by the banks, then what's the point?
The point is that cryptocurrency is the only way of fighting back.
Yeah.
That's why they're trying to manipulate it. That's why they want to shake public confidence.
So the point is to not be shaken by these attempts at manipulation. You need to expect manipulation to occur.
I see.
And to watch the peaks and buy into the dips, because they're going to try to drive the price up and down to shake confidence. And that's when the smart person will sell it when it's high and buy it when it's low, and do that every time. And you can actually make some good money doing that.
That's what I've been doing. And I literally I tripled my money in 2 weeks.
If they're so smart, then wouldn't they figure out that it's not working at some point?
But it is.
Bitcoin's still
it does
here.
with most people. Someone doesn't sell at the right time and they lose some money in value. And rather than having the patience to wait out the dip, they panic and dump it and say, "Oh, I'm never going to touch that again."
And I know so many people like that, Ian. I know so many people
But what makes you think there wouldn't be dips without manipulation? I mean, people are pack animals, you know.
Not saying there wouldn't be.
They think in groups, and they do
these massive swings.
Sometimes.
These massive swings, I don't think are.
These are market makers manipulating. Okay, when you have the way that market works is the more individuals you have participating in a market, so that there are no market makers, markets reach a natural equilibrium where the prices remain more or less stable with much less volatility. Bitcoin has had large volatility in the past because
it still does,
because there's so few people participating in it. The more people that get into Bitcoin, the more stable it's going to become in the long term.
But the network is maxed out.
And that's a problem because you have market makers jumping in. And as long as the price is still in the range it's in now, they're going to be able to do that. But
how long until they can't mess with it anymore?
Well, they'll have to crash it. It'll have to be something that they're no longer worried about, or they'll have to be gone.
Or they can't do anything about it anymore.
They'll have to give up.
When Bitcoin reaches 100,000, maybe 200,000, then it's going to start reaching this level of stability, and they won't be able to afford to keep manipulating it.
All right. The toll-free number here, if you want to join us, is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. You can bring up whatever's on your mind. We've got more from this Stiglitz guy. We're not even halfway through what is just a 2-minute long clip. So we'll play that for you, whatever other things he has to say against Bitcoin and why you should be scared. 855-450-FREE like freedom. And what you guys are saying is whether or not there's manipulation going on, the best strategy is to just hold through whatever downturns there might be, or buy at the dips like you were saying. More coming up here. This is Free Talk Live. Share your thoughts.
It's about time something new came along for better selling and buying online. And I found it.
What now, Marge?
It's buysellmakeoffer.com.
Never heard of it.
It's a brand new company. That's why you've never heard of it. It's the newest and best way to sell any products online. I did all the research.
Sell my car?
Yes.
Our home?
Yep.
My golf bag?
Your golf clubs. All of them.
How about your purse collection hoard?
Hey, now.
You said any product.
Right. I did. We get 30 days free.
Really?
Packages starting from only $9.95. And buysellmakeoffer.com will never charge item fees ever. Never. And this is cool. Listen to this. You can even use Skype or video to show your items.
That's cool.
Yes. All we have to do is go to the website, sign up, and then load our stuff to sell. I love this site.
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. You got it?
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. Better selling, better buying.
Hi, this is Mark Edge of Free Talk Live. Michael W. Dean's book, User's Manual for the Human Experience, changed my life. In a culture that attempts to turn you into a compliant victim, this book gives you implementable steps on everything from how to be aware of your environment, walking down the street, to business, to how to handle a toxic person in your life. If you're a human, you need to read this book at least once. Go to Amazon and get the Kindle version, or paperback, or an audiobook of A User's Manual for the Human Experience.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next, after the news, here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Wednesday, November 29th, 2017. Silver is trading at $16.90 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,295 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 4.3 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $10,267. Antiwar.com reports during her scheduled Wednesday visit to Saudi Arabia, British Prime Minister Theresa May says she intends to challenge the kingdom on a number of human rights abuses and in particular will demand an end to the Saudi-led blockade of Yemen. Though international aid organizations have been deeply critical of the blockade, this will be the first time a top foreign leader has demanded the Saudis stop the blockade, which has been in place for 2.5 years and is killing growing numbers of Yemeni civilians. Britain has been selling growing amounts of arms to the Saudis throughout the war, which has raised concerns among some officials that Britain is effectively complicit in the war crimes going on in Yemen. A similar concern exists with U.S. support for the Saudi war, as the U.S. has sold the Saudis even more arms and has participated directly in the conflict and blockade. This concern has been expressed by some in Congress, but so far the U.S. leadership appears unmoved to limit their involvement in Saudi actions.
For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals. Gold, silver, platinum, and palladium. They don't feed the banks. They're Bitcoin preferred and have removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co.
UPI reports a former employee of a U.S. government contractor in Afghanistan who pled guilty to accepting kickbacks from a subcontractor in exchange for assistance in obtaining government contracts was sentenced to 21 months in prison on Tuesday. In July, 56-year-old Nebraska McAlpine of Smyrna, Georgia, admitted that he and an Afghan executive agreed to a deal that would give McAlpine cash in exchange for no-bid contracts. He pocketed more than $250,000 in the scheme. In addition to 21 months in federal prison, McAlpine will serve 3 years of supervised release and 100 hours of community service. The Department of Justice said as a result of the kickback scheme, the prime contractor paid over $1.6 million to the subcontractor to assist in maintaining the Afghan Ministry of the Interior ultra-high-frequency radio communication system in Kabul.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 is a nightmare to the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411, because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Get it today at getcell411.com.
Reuters reports more than a dozen former members of a New York fraternity chapter pled guilty on Tuesday to reduced charges and were sentenced to probation in the 2013 hazing death of a Baruch College freshman during an initiation ritual in Pennsylvania's Pocono Mountains. Chun Michael Ding, who was 19, died from head injuries while pledging to become a member of Pi Delta Psi, an Asian American cultural fraternity at Baruch in Manhattan. 17 former fraternity members appeared in Monroe County Court of Common Pleas in Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania on Tuesday, some accompanied by their parents. As a result of the plea bargains, 15 of them pled guilty to reduced charges, and the cases of the final 2 were continued. Judge Margarita Patty Worthington told the group, "You were better than this," urging their members to learn to think for themselves, saying, "Be individuals and do the right thing going forward. Don't get caught up in groupthink." Prosecutor Kim Metzger said 13 more defendants were expected to plead guilty on Wednesday, including Andy Ming, former National Fraternity president and brother of U.S. Representative Grace Ming of New York. 4 other young men linked to the case pled guilty in May to be accomplices to voluntary manslaughter and other charges. Last week, the Pi Delta Psi fraternity was convicted of charges including aggravated assault and involuntary manslaughter, but acquitted of third-degree murder and voluntary manslaughter, both felonies. Prosecutors and defense lawyers said it was the first U.S. conviction of a fraternity in a pledge hazing death. Ding died after being injured in a ritual known as the glass ceiling at a home the fraternity rented in the Poconos about 100 miles west of New York City. During the incident, he was blindfolded, wore a 30-pound backpack, and ran a gauntlet of fraternity members who tackled and knocked him down on the snow-covered ground in December 2013. The college students waited for more than an hour before driving him to a hospital. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
The Onion looks back at This Week in History. On July 21st, 2007, Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, the final installment in the widely popular Harry Potter series, was released, as excited fans all over the world eagerly flipped to the book's final pages to find out if Harry and Lord Voldemort finally
Author J.K. Rowling had already succeeded in creating one of the most popular literary franchises of all time. And of course, much of that success was owed to the expertly crafted sexual tension that steadily built up between the series' protagonist, schoolboy wizard Harry Potter, and the Dark Lord Voldemort. Everyone in the country wanted to know whether or not they would and if they did how many times would they and who would be who.
And that was what happened this week in history. In the words of Mother Teresa, if there is one lesson to learn from the past, it's that no matter what you do, there will always be a bunch more crippled dying kids.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live. We're launching into the second hour of the program. You can dial in toll free to join us here and bring up whatever is on your mind. Our number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. It's 855-450-3733. And with you in the studio tonight, you've got me, Ian,
Mike,
and Will.
We're talking about Bitcoin under attack yet again by some old guys who've been around the banking industry for a long time, like this character, Nobel Prize-winning economist Joseph Stiglitz, who says that Bitcoin should be outlawed because of its so-called potential for circumvention and lack of oversight, which is, of course, why the government would want to outlaw Bitcoin, because they're not in charge of it. And that's exactly why you should be looking seriously at getting some Bitcoin, because the government is not in charge, and therefore they don't get to control the money supply anymore when it comes to the Bitcoin money supply. That's set as a programming, aspect of Bitcoin. It was programmed into it from the beginning back in 2009 that there would be no more than 21 million Bitcoins ever mined. Now, I guess in theory, if Bitcoin Core wanted to, they could hard fork Bitcoin and try to change that.
Oh, they could, yeah.
They, in theory, could do that, but it would look really bad for them if they actually did, I think.
Absolutely.
So that's one thing that's great about cryptocurrency is the rate of discovery or the rate of the mining is predictable, whereas with government bureaucrats, they will print out as much as they want, as we've seen with Venezuela, as we've seen with Zimbabwe, with the United States, with, you fill in the blank on whichever government currency you were talking about here. In this case, let's continue from Bloomberg, where this Stiglitz was commenting.
A bubble, as several of your commentators have already pointed out. It's a bubble that's going to give a lot of people a lot of exciting times as it rises up and then goes down. But what I was talking about is the medium of exchange that we use for transaction. And what I was trying to say is, let's move away from paper into the 21st century of a digital economy.
So he supports a digital economy. He supports getting away from cash, but he wants it all to be controlled by the banks and the government. He wants you to use the government's digital money, whatever it is that they come up with for that.
Well, back in the day, that was common among monarchs, where they had laws that said that if you discovered gold, you could get a reward for that, but all gold mines belonged to the king, because that was the source of his ability to control the coinage, and
that was a power granted him by God.
Yes.
Right? So yeah, very, very little has changed over the years, but that's what Bitcoin represents, is a tremendous sea change that is here now, but I mean, it's still sort of on the horizon, even though we've been into Bitcoin now for almost 9 years. It's still relatively new when you think about it on the scale of the rest of the money of the world. And so there's more here from Bloomberg.
This is away from your Nobel Prize, and it's away from your acclaim in economics, but I'm going to go there anyways. Charles Mackay, 1841.
This guy
talks about our peculiar follies in the behavioral component that makes for these bubbles, whether it's 1637 and tulip bulbs, 1840 rose. Bring up the chart here.
Now, wait a minute. Tulip bulbs. Didn't we talk about that one night here on Free Talk Live?
There was a nice Smithsonian Institution article recently
Very
that
detailed.
explained that the so-called tulip panic of the 1600s, in which the Dutch equity markets went nuts over the value of tulip bulbs and then crashed, really never happened to the extent that modern economic pundits think happened.
So this host on Bloomberg TV, the bow tie wearing guy with the dark rimmed glasses, he's saying that he believes the tulip thing was legit. He's acting as though that was all true, when what you're saying is the Smithsonian has pointed out that
news.
It's not. Let's go on here.
Here's the bubble in the making. This is log Bitcoin. I can't stand the arithmetic charts. And this is all you need to know. This is massive convexity. I haven't seen that.
I don't know what he's talking about.
It's growth.
He's talking about that big dip between the Mount Gox peak in 2013 and the current peak today, as if that dip on the long term somehow means something.
Let's continue.
That chart since the tulip bulbs when we were doing surveillance by semaphore. Professor Stiglitz, they're relying on a Marxist theory of value. They're going back to middle Marx and looking at the value of exchange.
Now, that's a first. I can't say I've ever heard Bitcoin being accused of being Marxist.
And he's absolutely incorrect, because Marx's theory of value was based on labor. And the idea that the value of anything was strictly based upon the amount of labor put into it. And so that's exactly the opposite of Bitcoin, where its value is strictly subjective based upon the market demand for the amount of supply.
So it doesn't matter how much money people put into mining rigs. If it can't fetch anything in the marketplace, then it doesn't matter.
Right.
Yeah, again, you've got these pundits who are acting like they know what they're talking about, and they really just have no idea. But unfortunately, the people watching probably think they do.
It's smoke and mirrors, isn't it?
Precisely. It's
Thank you. Why?
He is smoke and mirrors.
Yeah.
He's smoking something.
Oh, my God. Projection much.
Yeah.
Well, the value of a Bitcoin today is expectations of what the Bitcoin is going to be tomorrow.
What do you think about that statement? The value of a Bitcoin today are expectations of what a Bitcoin's going to be tomorrow.
Well, we know that there's a finite supply of Bitcoins now and a finite supply of Bitcoins that will ever be created. So based upon an assumption of increased demand, as we know that people will have more transactions to do in the future than they do today, then obviously any economics 101 person can deduce that the value of Bitcoin is going to be higher in the future.
Because of demand.
Because of demand.
And limited supply.
Not because of any sort of Marxist theories of value.
If the government says, look at the reason Bitcoin is being used is the circumvention, they could close it down at any moment, and then it collapses.
He just doesn't know what he's talking about. The government can't close it down. There's not a central office that the government can send a bunch of men with guns to, which is the way they normally close something down, like they did with the Liberty Dollar, for instance. Years ago.
You know, I broke that story with the raid on Bernard von Nothaus. Yeah, I broke that on my International Libertarian blog when the feds raided his warehouse and seized all of his silver. And, you know, that was really something that motivated a lot of the guys in the BitGold team among the cypherpunks. And it's like, you know, really, you know, there was the raid on eGold years before,
right?
And this raid on Norfed. It's like you can't trust having metal around, because and I'll be redundant here, criminals or the government could easily steal it.
Right. More likely the criminals in the government that will be
That's
able to
why
do
they
it.
don't like Bitcoin, is if they steal it, they still can't get it. Like if they steal your gold or they steal your silver, they can then sell it for the value, and now the government has the value of the gold or silver. They either stuff it into a vault or sell it and keep the cash and, use it for some slush fund or to, pay off sexual harassment victims or something,
Well, they've sold Bitcoin.
But it's harder for them to get their hands on it. Like
generally, yeah.
They had to beg and beg and beg to get the private keys for the black market, the Silk Road.
Silk Road? No, they caught him with his laptop open.
I thought that she just gave over those last private keys recently.
I don't know anything about that. I haven't heard that.
No, I heard there was a deal or something that was supposedly struck where some private keys.
No. What you're talking about is they had confiscated his. You're talking about Ross Ulbricht from the Silk Road, the underground market. They'd confiscated his private keys. They'd already sold the Bitcoin off at auction.
Yeah.
And basically, Ross signed a document saying he wasn't going to contest it any further.
Ugh.
That was all.
Oh, okay.
There's more coming up here. 8:55, 450, free like freedom. That's the last from this a-hole, Joseph Stiglitz, but he's not the only one on the attack against Bitcoin. The good news, though, is that NASDAQ's going to be adding it coming up in 2018. You can share your thoughts on what you want. This is Free Talk Live.
If your dog has shedding, dry skin, excessive scratching, I would recommend Dynovite.
Order a 90-day supply of Dynovite for your dog this week.
We'll send you a bottle of Super Mega Fish Oil free.
Packed with omega-3, DHA, and EPA fatty acids.
Super Mega is great for your dog's immune system, healthy skin, and soft, shiny fur.
Try Super Omega Fish Oil.
Free this week at Dynovite.com.
Just feed your dog right. Use Dynovite. Dynovite for life.
DINOVITE.com.
Have you wanted to get into Bitcoin mining but don't want to deal with the hassle and frustration of operating the mining hardware? Let pool.bitcoin.com handle it for you like I did. Just visit pool.bitcoin.com and use their calculator to estimate what you could end up making. You get to decide which Bitcoin you want to mine. If you already have mining equipment, you're invited to join pool.bitcoin.com. Get all the details and get started mining Bitcoin at pool.bitcoin.com.
I got my Blink home security system delivered right to my door. I downloaded the app and it walked me right through the easy setup. Even with my complicated router system, I was done in like 10 minutes. Now it notifies me whenever something moves in front of the wireless cameras, or I can just check it whenever I want right from my phone. And I got you a deal. Get 3 Blink cams for what the other guys charge you for 1, plus an extra 10% off. Visit blinkprotect.com/FTL. blinkprotect.com/FTL. blinkprotect.com/FTL.
Shop online and support Free Talk Live. Every purchase you make at shop.freetalklive.com helps spread a message of liberty. From shop.freetalklive.com, you can shop at places like Walmart, Newegg, Amazon UK, Amazon Canada, Omaha Steaks, HostGator, and more. Plus, you can get discounts on web hosting, legal documents, or pretty much anything using saveatpurse.com. Just bookmark the link and help Free Talk Live while shopping online. Thank you for shopping with shop.freetalklive.com.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippies! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free, at apps.lrn.fm.
Should you be able to earn an honest living free from senseless government interference? The Institute for Justice thinks so. That's why we've spent years defending hard-working men and women from pointless government regulations. Nationwide, IJ has created opportunity by reducing government power. But there is still more work to be done. Visit our website today at ij.org. Let IJ take care of the government so you can take care of your business.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. Dial toll free to join us here. Our number is 855-450, free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. And you can Skype in here at Skype username LRN.FM. Let's talk nutritional supplements for a moment. Over 60% of Americans take a nutritional supplement, and for good reason. Nutrient depletion of our soil, coupled with dependence on processed foods, has left most people deficient in essential nutrients. But where do you start? If you visit a naturopath, you'll likely be told a cheap vitamin mineral supplement doesn't cut it. You'll also need probiotics, enzymes, antioxidants, and other nutrients. And by the time it's all said and done, you're buying 5 bottles of product and spending $150 a month. If that's a situation you've experienced, then you need to know about Whole Food Multi-Complete. For 15 years, Whole Food Multi-Complete has been quietly providing what the big guys won't: the perfect blend of supplements in a single product. They've taken the expense and complexity out of following a complete supplement program, so visit simplifymysupplements.com to learn more and use coupon code FTL to get 10% off of your order every time you order. Your satisfaction is guaranteed or your money back. And yes, they do take Bitcoin. You do have to shoot them an email if you want to use that option. And don't forget to let them know code FTL, like Free Talk Live, for that 10% off. We are sharing with you the continued attacks against Bitcoin, which, by the way, has once again climbed above 10,000 US dollars. It's been a roller coaster ride of a day today. It's getting up as high as about 11,500 earlier, according to BitcoinAverage.com, and tumbling as low as about 9,000 US dollars on Bitcoin Average, and now again back up above 10. Just amazing to watch it. But a lot of people are saying that Bitcoin's too unstable. You shouldn't get into it.
This is where the little guy can make money, because you can either buy some Bitcoin and hold it for the long term, or you can actively trade it. And if you get into it expecting the volatility, you start to learn to watch the patterns in the volatility, and you learn to buy high, you buy into the dip, you sell high, you buy low, and you can do this over and over again and get a much higher return than just sitting and holding.
Just sitting and holding. Yeah, I'm more of a sit and hold kind of
guy.
Some
people can't handle this. It can be stressful. It's like waiting for your baseball team to hit that home run. And
or you try to go and buy something
Ian
and the exchange is down.
Ian has literally seen me exactly like that. Like, oh my God, no!
Playing craps and in some respects, people who may be
Come on, seven. Come on, seven. Come on, seven. Come on, seven.
This may not be quite the best thing for their, habits. So, but if you can, keep your cool and just play the numbers and not get emotionally vested, you can actually make quite a lot of money trading into the volatility in the market.
So there's a little bit of good news here about Bitcoin. I think that it's going to probably give it some legitimacy in some people's minds. And the headline here from CryptoCoinsNews.com is Bitcoin futures trading is coming to NASDAQ, the world's second largest stock market. The $6.83 trillion stock market, NASDAQ, the world's second largest behind the New York Stock Exchange, will enable Bitcoin futures trading by mid-2018. The Wall Street Journal report revealed that NASDAQ and Cantor Fitzgerald & Company will list Bitcoin futures within the first half of 2018. Now, I'm not an investor, so I don't understand what they're talking about.
Okay.
Why would somebody want to buy a future as opposed to a Bitcoin?
Okay. A future is essentially a bet on the future price of an asset or commodity.
Okay.
And so in this case,
so you're not actually buying Bitcoin.
You're buying an expectation of a future price, and you can bet on it being higher or lower. And this is what the hedge funds really love, because they can do what's called shorting, and they say and the way shorting works is if I could borrow some Bitcoin from you and say I'll pay you so much % interest on this loan of 10 Bitcoin from you, and I'll sell it right now. And I think that the price is going to go down. So when the price goes down, I will buy it back, and I'll then return it to you.
And so you get more Bitcoin.
So I get the spread, and you.
But if
just
it doesn't
get the
go
interest.
down, you're screwed.
If it doesn't go down, you can lose your shirt.
Yeah. Sounds pretty risky, but some people want to do that. This is why I say the stock market is just straight up gambling. I'm sorry. I understand that people.
I can't do the first. I can't do futures. Muslims can't do futures because you can't purchase based on what something could be worth in the future.
Is that because of the Muslim tendency towards like this fatalistic inshallah, where everything that happens is Allah's will?
It's God's will. Okay. Yeah, it's betting you. It's seen almost like interest, like riba. So, and it's like you can't buy a calf that hasn't been born yet, even if the mother is pregnant, that kind of thing. And futures are viewed in the same manner as that whole thing. So I can't do that, but you can make a lot of money doing it.
You can lose a lot of money doing it.
Yeah. According to sources familiar with the NASDAQ plans for a Bitcoin futures exchange launch, their Bitcoin futures and contracts will be listed on NASDAQ futures. Through that, investors in the traditional finance sector and stock brokerages will be able to engage in Bitcoin trading, or some sort of form of it, futures trading. Anyway, Sean Matthews, the chief executive at Cantor Fitzgerald, stated that cryptocurrencies are a new asset class that is, quote, not going away, unquote, and that Bitcoin is here to stay. He says, if you look at the next level, it'll be the institutions coming in and being larger participants in the marketplace, especially as liquidity gets better, unquote. So what he's saying is, as Bitcoin is bigger and becomes bigger, then the bigger players are going to start playing in that field.
I've been going to these blockchain conferences for the past few months. I've been meeting with people who are with the IMF, the World Bank, with large venture capital firms, large family office organizations, and they're all waking up to this. And this could
be a huge year.
Oh, it's going to be huge. And like for instance, John McAfee predicted that he said was that the price of Bitcoin would be $500,000
by 2020.
And
he's updated that.
And
now.
he's updated that. He said because that projection was
I've got his quote right here.
Bitcoin being 5,000 at the end of this year. So now that it's over 10,000, he's now changing it to predicting the price will be $1 million per Bitcoin by 2020, and he'll eat
a dick.
Do some fellatio on something.
No, spotted dick. Clearly, he was talking about spotted dick.
I don't know.
Where is your mind is in the gutter?
Well, I know John pretty well. He's a friend of mine, and I know his mind's in the gutter
it's
too.
Pretty clear that he was talking about a spotted dick. You can't eat anything else besides that. Come on now, don't be silly. So John McAfee has made that prediction, and he is saying he is going to do it. He said he was going to do it on television too. Which, again, you couldn't show that on television if it was something naughty. You'd only be able to show him eating a spotted dick.
Which you can buy in a can now at Hannaford's.
That's good to know.
Well, he didn't say it had to be human.
The toll-free number here is 855. And a spotted dick is not human. It is a bird, as I understand it. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. 855-450-3733. So, good news there for NASDAQ people that want to trade in the futures of Bitcoin. Apparently that's coming sometime in 2018, so look for that. And a lot of this stuff means that probably 2018 is going to be gearing up for an even bigger year than 2017 was for cryptocurrency, which is now over $300 billion in total for all cryptocurrencies combined globally. There's more coming up. It's Free Talk Live.
This just in. Before your doctor gives you another antibiotic prescription that you don't want, get this free report, The Miracle of Garlic, your first home medicine. This free report is filled with easy kitchen remedies for common colds, flus, sore throats, ear infections, and more. Plus, learn to boost your immunity before you get sick. Go now to gcnwellness.com. Just like it sounds, gcnwellness.com to get your free report, The Miracle of Garlic. Click gcnwellness.com.
Anytime, any place, anywhere, radio remains the most intimate of all forms of media. At home, at work, in the car, on smartphones. Over 90% of consumers still listen to radio every week. That makes choosing radio as a place to advertise your business one of the best decisions you can make. Email advertise@gcnlive.com and partner up with an experienced GCN representative. Advertise@gcnlive.com. Easy, affordable, effective.
Armistice Day was a day dedicated to world peace, a day to perpetuate peace through goodwill and mutual understanding. This sentiment was lost when Congress renamed the day in 1954. So antiwar.com is reclaiming November 11th as Armistice Day, a celebration of hope and peace. Antiwar.com has been battling the war party for 22 years and has always been on the cutting edge of technology in this fight, having accepted Bitcoin donations for 5 years now. Antiwar.com is diving deeper into the cryptocurrency movement by adding Bitcoin Cash, Dash, and Zcash to its digital currency donation options. And to celebrate, Bitcoin.com has pledged $20,000 in crypto matching funds through December 31st. Help Antiwar.com accelerate into the future with a cryptocurrency donation today.
Radio is the most personal of mediums. I exist right now in your head. If you listen to Free Talk Live regularly, you know me. Free Talk Live is on more than 160 radio stations around the U.S. and has been downloaded on every continent around the world. Hundreds of thousands of listeners with ad packages from $600 a month to $6,000 a month. Imagine what we can do for your business, project, website, or idea. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com. Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it. And once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world. So I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here. And I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, add yourself to the Shire map at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
It is Free Talk Live. You may dial toll-free here and bring up anything that you want. Our number is 855-450, free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. And we've got Skype as well, so feel free to Skype on in here at Skype username LRN.FM. With you in the studio tonight, you've got Ian,
Mike,
and Will.
We're talking about some cryptocurrency-related news here. Gave you the good news about NASDAQ going to be listing Bitcoin futures starting in 2018, they say. And then here's the bad news. You found this one earlier, Mike, about the IRS. Apparently, they are victorious in their case against Coinbase. Now, we've said for a long time here that if you want your Bitcoin purchases to be off the record, you don't want to do it through a company like Coinbase, because in order to buy Bitcoin through Coinbase, they ask you for your information. They want to know
your customer.
They want to know who you are. They want to get your ID. They want to get your bank account information.
Proctological scam.
You better believe it. They want to know everything about you, and that's because they're keeping records. Now, the IRS came after Coinbase over a year ago and demanded access to their customer files. And Coinbase, to their credit, did try to deny the IRS. They said, you're going to have to take us to court. And so they did.
Well, because it was a blanket request. They wanted
all of the customer records.
And it's like, that's not how warrants work under the law. You need to specify
I don't think it was a warrant, was it? It was just a request. They just wanted the information.
Anytime the government requests information, that should be in the form of a warrant.
Well, no, a request is just a request. If the government writes you a letter and says, "Mike, we request that you hand over all of your reading materials in your house to us,"
you can come in my door and look at my files when you get a warrant.
That would be the appropriate response. But some companies are just obedient to the state, and they're like, "Oh, yes, sir, Mr. Law Enforcement Officer. Yes, sir, Mr. IRS Agent. We'll just do whatever you ask. You didn't have to get a warrant because we just want to help." In this case, at least, Coinbase did refuse their request and made them go through the court process, which unfortunately has not worked out in Coinbase's favor or Coinbase customers' favor. The story from Fortune.com: Bitcoin speculators aren't the only ones who stand to cash in from the cryptocurrency boom. Uncle Sam is now set to collect back taxes from thousands of customers of a digital currency exchange who failed to report Bitcoin transactions. In a ruling on Tuesday, a federal court judge ordered San Francisco-based Coinbase to comply with a summons that requires it to identify 14,355 accounts, which have accounted for nearly 9 million transactions. The order, which covers transactions between 2013 and 2015, comes after a prolonged court fight that began when the IRS demanded that Coinbase provide detailed personal information for more than 1 million customer accounts. The IRS subsequently limited its demand to ask only for accounts that conducted Bitcoin transactions, either exchanging Bitcoin for dollars or sending or receiving coins from another Bitcoin user worth $20,000 or more. So if you were on Coinbase and you bought a few $100s worth of Bitcoin, it doesn't sound like your account is going to be caught up in this particular investigation. They're looking for the big players.
The whales.
Right.
Yeah.
Coinbase claimed that even the narrower IRS request represented an illegal imposition, but the court disagreed. U.S. District Judge Jacqueline Corley says, quote, "The summons as narrowed by the court serves the IRS's legitimate purpose of investigating Coinbase account holders who may not have paid federal taxes on their virtual currency profits."
Now, are they saying, like, only people who made $20,000 or more transactions, like that big, it had to be that big?
Hold on a second.
Are they saying
Hold on a second, though. The IRS defines Bitcoin not as a currency, but as property.
That's right. FinCEN defines it as a currency, though.
So, the judge is in error in saying that it's a virtual currency, and there's grounds for another appeal.
Well, she's talking about, it may be an appealable grounds, but the judge is talking about the profits. So I'm not a tax advisor. Please don't listen to me when it comes to tax advice because I don't pay taxes. I'm a minister of the Shire Free Church, not interested in supporting the violence of the government. But as I understand it, for people that do pay taxes, they have to pay on what's called a capital gain, meaning that if they bought Bitcoin at $100 and then they sold it at $1,000, that there's a $900 gain there, and that they would have to report that $900 to the IRS and then pay a tax on that.
Yes, but if you, for instance, traded your Bitcoin for Ethereum, that's a equal value for equal value exchange, regardless of the
You're not cashing out.
You're not cashing out. And so therefore, if you want to avoid those sort of capital gains claims, you should just be trading between cryptocurrencies until such time as you're ready to cash something out and declare taxes on that cash
Why
out.
would you want to declare taxes on cashing out Bitcoin? Because you can cash out Bitcoin off the books, and then the government wouldn't know about it.
True. But
if you do it through Coinbase, they're going to know about it.
If you are doing it, if you have a business where you do have to declare movements, and you may be able to, if you're sharp and you have a good accountant, you could basically look at how your trading behavior and come up with some way to show that, no, you are actually taking a loss in some ways. And, that's where you get into a lot of these tax accountancy tricks of the trade.
I see.
So, I'm not a tax accountant, so you'll have to ask your own.
Our Monday night co-host Melanie is, though. Tax.freetalklive.com will take you to her website. And she's an anarchist. Going on here with the story, in response to an inquiry from Fortune about whether it would appeal, Coinbase pointed to a blog post in which they stated the company was pleased that it had drastically reduced the scope of the original IRS demand. The blog post says, quote, "Although we are disappointed not to be able to entirely defeat the summons, we are proud to fight for our customers, and in the result we were able to achieve a small company against a large government agency," said the blog post, which did not address the appeal question. The investigation began after the IRS searched its electronic findings and discovered that only 802 people in the United States had declared Bitcoin-related losses or gains in 2015. Now, here's the interesting thing about this whole, you got to track your Bitcoin, this and that, and all these claims that you got to... Look, Bitcoin's fungible. So when you buy Bitcoin in 2013, or let's say 2012, before the price went up, you buy Bitcoin at whatever the price is, and then you buy some more Bitcoin at a different price later, maybe a higher price, and then you buy some more Bitcoin at another, higher price or a lower price, who knows? Are you keeping track of all that and exactly how many you're buying at each price? Because when you go to sell your Bitcoin, unless you're using some coin control features, you don't know which Bitcoins are being sold at the time at which you sell them. And so how do you really know what your gains or your losses have been?
There's a practice that stock traders use to prevent them from losing money in this way. It's called dollar cost averaging.
Mm-hmm.
And so you basically look at the cost of each trade versus the price and the gain, and you can average over a number of trades, and so that will allow you to, when the price is at a certain point, you can sell out a certain amount of your holdings at a profit, and not so depending upon what the volatility is, you just keep track of what you bought and sold and maintain the average, and you can get ahead that way.
Sounds like a lot of work to be
well, there are applications that you can find online that allow you to do that.
Yeah, it just seems to me like they're really relying on people's just honesty here. I mean, because if I buy Bitcoin from a person instead of a trackable online exchange, and then I go to an online exchange like Coinbase and I take that Bitcoin that I bought from the person and I sell that Bitcoin on the online exchange, the online exchange could then be subpoenaed by the IRS to show that I have sold that Bitcoin.
Well, then
but then they have to take my word for it at what price I bought it.
The government would demand for you to prove where you got all that money from, and they could theoretically seize it all.
There's more coming up here in moments. Free Talk Live.
Share content as a curator or produce it as a creator. The source of your advertising revenue is often limited by intermediaries like YouTube. What if there was a way to connect content creators directly with advertisers, decentralizing attention-based market advertising transactions and putting the control back into the hands of content owners? Introducing the revolutionary Signal Token Protocol by Spective VR. partnered with Blend Media, the largest network of 360 video content in the world, and featured on Fox Business's Innovations. Specta VR is a 360 VR streaming platform created to be the first use case and early adopter of the Signal Token protocol, driving real use and allowing Spective to optimize their platform. SpectiveVR.com is hosting a pre-ICO for Signal Tokens starting December 8th at a 40% bonus. For early access to the token sale and an exclusive 60% token bonus, sign up for the email list at SpectiveVR.com.
Hi, this is Ted Anderson. I'm here to tell you about GCNTelecare.com, a team of board-certified doctors assisting you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Within 15 minutes of registration, care your family can afford. Revolutionizing the healthcare industry, virtual consulting providing diagnosis of non-emergency medical issues by phone or secure video on computer or smart mobile devices. GCNTelecare.com. Virtual care anywhere.
Most people think life insurance pays after you're dead. That's true. But did you know you can have tax-free access to your life insurance while you're still alive? You can use the life benefits of your life insurance to grow your money with certainty and guarantees. No stock market risk, no tax risk, and no penalties. Call Life Benefits if you'd like a free book about how this can be done. Call 702-660-7000. That's 702-660-7000.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market, making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project early movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com.
The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love, but make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Nestle Toll House Morsels, helping you create special moments and memories your family will cherish forever. Visit us at tollhouse.com. You may bake for birthdays and holidays, but why stop there? Sweeten up the rest of the year by designating monthly dessert days. Treat your family to one of their favorites or surprise them with something new. Either way, you'll create a tradition everyone will love. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip-in on the right side of the page at lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can bring up whatever you want. Our toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. The IRS, are they going to be checking out your Coinbase account? According to a court ruling that just came in, U.S. District Judge Jacqueline Corley has ruled that the Coinbase, the country's largest Bitcoin exchange/brokerage. This is the place where most newbies will get into Bitcoin. They'll buy their first piece of a Bitcoin is through Coinbase.
Get their little wallet trading wheels.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good place. I've said before, it is a good place for somebody to start with.
I still
with
trade
Bitcoin.
there. I mean, it's the GDAX. I love that exchange. It's got some nice, very fast.
When it works.
Charts.
I heard it was down today.
It was down today during the crash, and there's a number of people who are saying, "Oh, that was a conspiracy
to prevent people from cashing out."
Yeah, or just buying into the dip. The wrong people buying into the dip,
So the court decision here says that Coinbase has to turn over 14,355 account data that they have that will account for nearly 9 million transactions, so the IRS can go after people who they believe did not report. Because according to a report earlier this year, only 802 people in the entire United States reported to the IRS about their Bitcoin transactions.
I'd like to report to the IRS the losses I took after Mt. Gox
well, isn't that what you're supposed to do?
I
show
didn't,
your losses?
I was like, I didn't think we needed to report it at the time because that was all crypto,
Well, why should you? I mean, who are these people and why should you report anything that you do to them? Now, of course, if you're on the books like you are at Coinbase, then something like this is subject to occur where, you thought you'd be fine and now they might be coming after you saying, we want to know this and this and this about you. But then again, how do they know where you got those Bitcoins in the first place and what you paid for those Bitcoins in the first place? Maybe you didn't buy them on Coinbase. Maybe you bought them from your mother or your best friend or some stranger or whatever. I mean, who knows what the source of these things are? Then they have to what? Take your word for it? Or as you said, Mike, you think they could take every single thing that you own?
Oh, yeah. They do this all the time to anybody who is found to have a large amount of cash on them when they're arrested or whatever, and you've got to prove where that money came from, and if you can't prove it, they're going to keep it.
Well, they are a terrible group of people who should disappear from the face of the earth. Unfortunately, that's not going to happen. So a little bit more here from Fortune magazine. Again, the IRS began investigating after only 802 people declared Bitcoin-related losses or gains on their taxes in 2015. During the 3 years covered by the IRS demand, the price of Bitcoin soared from $13 to over $1,100, and the currency this week broke $11,000 for the first time. The IRS dispute with Coinbase is likely to be just the opening salvo in a prolonged effort by the federal government to ensure digital currency speculators pay taxes. While Tuesday's ruling may lead the agency to demand back taxes from thousands of people, it only covers a 3-year period and is limited to Bitcoin. While Bitcoin is the most popular digital currency, there are dozens of others in a market worth now over, it says here 200 billion. It's actually over 300 billion as of right now. In fact, it went from 200 billion to 300 billion in a term of about 3 weeks. And they say here that Coinbase is just one of numerous exchanges where people buy Bitcoin and other currencies. The IRS so far has not announced investigations into other exchanges. And meanwhile, the creation of Bitcoin Cash is likely to trigger another round of tax complications.
People are just going to move out of Bitcoin and move into other altcoins.
Yeah, but getting out of the altcoins is the tricky part because it's easy to get out of Bitcoin with a company like Coinbase. They make it so all you have to do is connect a bank account and then you just send Bitcoin in there and then they cash it in for you.
Well, get a Exodus wallet onto your phone or your PC or just a thumb drive and move your send your coins from your Coinbase wallet onto your Exodus wallet or your Coinomi wallet or one of these other wallets that you can have on your hardware and keep physical control of your crypto.
I'm sorry, I thought we were talking about cashing out.
Well, cashing out in terms of cashing out of these exchanges that are being audited by the IRS.
When I hear cashing out, I hear taking a crypto and turning it into cash.
Yeah,
you weren't talking about that?
That's going to develop in the future.
Yeah. Ways to do that?
Yeah, ways to cash out.
There's already
that's totally coming in the future.
Yeah, there's already blockchains that are being developed to essentially enable a strict, totally decentralized, person-to-person trading of cryptocurrency.
Really?
Yeah, with atomic swaps between fiat and crypto and crypto and crypto.
What is an atomic swap?
An atomic swap is where you have a trade between one person's wallet and another according to common market prices. And so you can do it with limit orders or market orders, just like on a regular currency exchange.
But how does that work with cash?
Well, with cash,
because with crypto, it's easy. It just goes back and forth on a digital exchange. But with cash, somebody's got to be able to go and get U.S. dollars or other fiat currencies out.
And so you're going to have people who are holding, you're going to have some holders of like you have the number of networks of Islamic people who do private transfer of currency internationally. Was it what was the name of those? Is it the Haqqani or some other name for those networks of currency transfers that happens in the Muslim world?
There's a word for it, but my brain is not conducive to information.
But
for the last 2 weeks,
you're going to see, private individuals become money changers in the local communities.
Yeah, but then the government's going to want to come down on those people. That's the tricky part about the cryptocurrency world, is getting in and out of it.
Yeah.
And once you're into it, fine. You can trade your Bitcoin for your Bitcoin Cash, for your Dash, for your Monero, for whatever. That's no problem. But it's getting the cash in and out. It's getting the euros in and out. It's those points, or those are the choke points. Those are the ones that the government can target. That's why they're targeting Coinbase. So if you're somebody with $100,000 or $500,000 or whatever kind of cash, and you want to be this local exchanger that you're talking about, the government's going to try to find you, and they are going to try to tell you that you need to obey them.
Yeah.
I mean, because otherwise, why wouldn't these exchanges just be like, well, we don't need any licenses. We're just going to go ahead and open up and do whatever. And I don't think they should have to have licenses, but they sure think so. And they, are being targeted by the government. So, I mean, I would love to see what you're talking about, some kind of decentralized means of getting people the ability to get out of cryptocurrency. And I think localbitcoins.com probably comes closest to that.
But it's going to be like not even Uber, where you have a central control of drivers, but you'll basically, by having these sort of atomic swap networks of person-to-person trading, you'll be able to geolocate another person that you're trading with and, show up and they'll just hand you some cash.
That's what happens with local Bitcoins.
Yeah.
That happens right now, and usually it's bigger cities all around the country.
I've done local Bitcoins up here.
You've met somebody in person up here?
Yeah.
Okay, so there you go. I mean, it's even in smaller places. But the point is, sometimes those local Bitcoins people are federal agents, and they are gathering information about the seller or the buyer. I think it's usually they're going after the sellers. They are gathering information about the seller. They're trying to set those sellers up by saying something like, oh yeah, I'm going to use this on the Silk Road to buy some drugs. And then if the seller goes through with it, then they're assisting them in a conspiracy to commit to purchase narcotics. Yeah. And you've got criminal charges now.
And if the seller doesn't go through with it, but then doesn't report it to the federal government, then you now have also violated a federal law in that you had a reason to. Yes, that's one of the problems.
A reasonable suspicion.
You had
if you see something, say something.
Yeah,
there's an obligation.
There's
to
an
snitch.
obligation to snitch.
The hell with that.
If someone comes to you to purchase or to get money or whatever it is and says they want to use it for drugs, you are required by law to file a suspicious activities report, an SAR. But you have to be registered
to file the report,
to be able to file the report, and that's the catch-22 that they usually are able to get people in.
Let's talk to Daryl. He's in Austin, Texas, watching us on the webcam at cam.freetalklive.com via YouTube. Go ahead, Daryl.
Yes, you guys talking about different ways people store their Bitcoin. I've always had my Bitcoin on the wallet that's on my computer that I also back up to an external drive of some sort, because I just didn't like the idea of someone holding my Bitcoin.
Sure.
Yeah. So
I mean, if Coinbase is holding your Bitcoin, and then the IRS says to Coinbase, you need to hand that over, they're going to hand it over.
Oh yeah.
And you're going to have no say on it. Whereas if you have your own wallet with your own private keys in your control, which is what most wallets are with Bitcoin, then you decide what happens with your Bitcoin or whatever other crypto. I'm not sure if you were calling for another reason. If so, hang on, Daryl. We'll bring you back for that. Coming up in hour number 3. But bad news for the IRS. They're going to be getting into Coinbase's user files. Over 14,000 accounts. More coming up. Free Talk Live.
Do you have difficulty taking supplements? Are you searching for a high-quality, complete nutritional drink that your whole family will love? NutriMedical's Life Support has arrived. All of your daily nutritional requirements in one quick, delicious drink. Dr. Bill Deagle's Life Support is a proprietary blend of vegan protein, activated vitamins, essential minerals, amino acids, probiotics, green tea, digestive enzymes, anti-inflammatories, cancer prevention, detoxification, and much more. Your body will high-five you for this one. Life Support is the best complete nutritious meal replacement on the market. Whether you are an elite athlete, have post-operative challenges, chronic illness, elderly, or a family that just wants a quick, delicious drink, try Dr. Bill Deagle's Life Support for optimized nutrition in one great tasting smoothie. Just add cold water, almond milk, fruit, or anything else you like. NutriMedical's Life Support. Try our great tasting chocolate or vanilla today. Call 888-212-8871 or visit us online at NutriMedical.com. NutriMedical.com for the whole family.
What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin. But imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to saveatpurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. Saveatpurse.com. Did you know you can watch Free Talk Live during our live show 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cams at cam.freetalklive.com? Plus, you can chat with other listeners while you watch, all totally free. Now that our live video stream is hosted by YouTube, our video archives will be online even faster. So be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Wednesday, November 29th, 2017. Silver is trading at $16.90 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,295 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 4.3 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $10,267. Antiwar.com reports during her scheduled Wednesday visit to Saudi Arabia, British Prime Minister Theresa May says she intends to challenge the kingdom on a number of human rights abuses and in particular will demand an end to the Saudi-led blockade of Yemen. Though international aid organizations have been deeply critical of the blockade, this will be the first time a top foreign leader has demanded the Saudis stop the blockade, which has been in place for 2.5 years and is killing growing numbers of Yemeni civilians. Britain has been selling growing amounts of arms to the Saudis throughout the war, which has raised concerns among some officials that Britain is effectively complicit in the war crimes going on in Yemen. A similar concern exists with U.S. support for the Saudi war, as the U.S. has sold the Saudis even more arms and has participated directly in the conflict and blockade. This concern has been expressed by some in Congress, but so far the U.S. leadership appears unmoved to limit their involvement in Saudi actions.
For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals. Gold, silver, platinum, and palladium. They don't feed the banks. They're Bitcoin preferred and have removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co.
UPI reports a former employee of a U.S. government contractor in Afghanistan who pled guilty to accepting kickbacks from a subcontractor in exchange for assistance in obtaining government contracts was sentenced to 21 months in prison on Tuesday. In July, 56-year-old Nebraska McAlpine of Smyrna, Georgia, admitted that he and an Afghan executive agreed to a deal that would give McAlpine cash in exchange for no-bid contracts. He pocketed more than $250,000 in the scheme. In addition to 21 months in federal prison, McAlpine will serve 3 years of supervised release and 100 hours of community service. The Department of Justice said as a result of the kickback scheme, the prime contractor paid over $1.6 million to the subcontractor to assist in maintaining the Afghan Ministry of the Interior ultra-high-frequency radio communication system in Kabul.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 is a nightmare to the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411, because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Get it today at getcell411.com.
Reuters reports more than a dozen former members of a New York fraternity chapter pled guilty on Tuesday to reduced charges and were sentenced to probation in the 2013 hazing death of a Baruch College freshman during an initiation ritual in Pennsylvania's Pocono Mountains. Chun Michael Ding, who was 19, died from head injuries while pledging to become a member of Pi Delta Psi, an Asian American cultural fraternity at Baruch in Manhattan. 17 former fraternity members appeared in Monroe County Court of Common Pleas in Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania on Tuesday, some accompanied by their parents. As a result of the plea bargains, 15 of them pled guilty to reduced charges, and the cases of the final 2 were continued. Judge Margarita Patty Worthington told the group, "You were better than this," urging their members to learn to think for themselves, saying, "Be individuals and do the right thing going forward. Don't get caught up in groupthink." Prosecutor Kim Metzger said 13 more defendants were expected to plead guilty on Wednesday, including Andy Ming, former National Fraternity president and brother of U.S. Representative Grace Ming of New York. 4 other young men linked to the case pled guilty in May to be accomplices to voluntary manslaughter and other charges. Last week, the Pi Delta Psi fraternity was convicted of charges including aggravated assault and involuntary manslaughter, but acquitted of third-degree murder and voluntary manslaughter, both felonies. Prosecutors and defense lawyers said it was the first U.S. conviction of a fraternity in a pledge hazing death. Ding died after being injured in a ritual known as the glass ceiling at a home the fraternity rented in the Poconos about 100 miles west of New York City. During the incident, he was blindfolded, wore a 30-pound backpack, and ran a gauntlet of fraternity members who tackled and knocked him down on the snow-covered ground in December 2013. The college students waited for more than an hour before driving him to a hospital. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
Following the announcement of First Communion, the Holy Spookerist, the first hardcore pornographic movie to be filmed in Vatican City since 1982's classic adult feature Pope Fisters 4, Onion reporter spoke to Herschel Savage, director of the film.
It's a huge honor for me and everyone else involved with this film. This is where they shot Pope Fisters 4. I mean, that movie's a masterpiece. Well, when we wrote up the script, we sent it over to the Vatican to get the Pope's approval and see if he had any notes, but he loved it just the way it was.
The highly anticipated pornographic film, which stars Ron Jeremy as the horny sea himself, Pope Benedict the 69th, will reportedly contain graphic sex scenes filmed in the Sistine Chapel, St. Peter's Square, and the Pope-mobile, among various other notable sites within the Vatican.
Well, actually, I'm just watching a cut of this amazing scene we shot last night where Pope Benedict is gangbanging a bunch of nuns in his bed, and it was great because the Pope let us use his bedroom. Tomorrow we're shooting the scene where 2 nuns fuck each other on St. Peter's tomb using strap-on crucifixes. I think people are really going to like this movie.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live. We're launching into the third hour of the program, and as always, you're invited here to join us on the radio. Take control of the airwaves, toll free, 855-450, free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We do have Skype, and the Skype username is LRN.FM. Here in the studio tonight, it's Ian,
Mike,
and Will.
We're going back to your calls and thoughts. Pretty heavy on the Bitcoin talk here tonight, but of course the phones are always open for you to dial in and bring up anything. Daryl in Austin, Texas, you barely had a chance in the last hour. Go ahead with your thoughts here.
Also, you guys were talking earlier about that that so-called that economist and his whole idea that the government has to run things to make it have to be in charge of not try to control things to make things more legitimate. I think government controlling things makes it less legitimate sometimes because just government is only good at one thing, and that's screwing things up and wasting money.
Yeah, I mean, we all know that as liberty-minded folks. We've seen the government programs trying to achieve whatever and then actually achieving the opposite of their intended point and having 10 times the expected cost than what they had originally planned for. And I mean, government is just a boondoggle, and it's awful, and it's violent and terrifying. But yet there are still people out there who believe that when the government approves something, that makes it legitimate and that makes it safe and that it makes it okay.
Well, Stiglitz in particular has been noted in this area where he helped create a new branch of economics called The Economics of Information, which, among other things, included helping to explain the circumstances in which markets do not work well and how the selective government intervention can improve
It'll
their
help
performance.
things.
Yes.
You buy that one, Daryl?
I don't buy it very much. I do know that, like, for example, franchises came within a few votes of being made illegal in the United States back in, I think, the 50s.
Wow.
And, yes, it's kind of an interesting story where the media, just went up after franchises because, a few disreputable people were doing disreputable things. And the only way that I could possibly see that maybe that an industry might get helped is if the government went and after an industry in the courts, and the courts looked at the government and said, no, this is actually pretty legit. You guys are kind of overstepping your bounds here. That's the only thing I could see where if the government goes after you and the courts side on your side, then that actually could help you out in the long run when it goes to other countries. That's the only thing I can see, and that's kind of few and far between. And that's stretching it.
Well, that's because the courts work for the state.
Sure.
I mean, at the end of the day.
Yep, they sure do. Even if they...
everybody's paycheck comes from the same pool of stolen money.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely a conflict of interest, but try pointing that out in court, and it doesn't ever get you anywhere.
Oh, yeah, because, the judges, they have their pensions invested in these corporations that own the prisons that they're sending prisoners to.
That's right. Daryl, anything else you want to share with us tonight?
That's it.
Thanks for the
Have a good evening.
call. Appreciate hearing from you. If you want to join us here, you can do that. Our toll-free number is 855-450, free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We do have Skype, and that Skype username is LRN.FM. We've been talking about some of these old bankers that are on the attack against Bitcoin. They've trotted another one out, this one from Wall Street, apparently. They call him a Wall Street magnate, which means that he's a big money guy. His name, John Bogle, and he is now warning investors to keep their money away from the Bitcoin industry. Jack Bogle, legendary investor and founder of Vanguard Group, an investment firm managing $4.5 trillion worth of global assets. I mean, so to this guy, Bitcoin at $150 billion is chump change. I mean, this is nothing more than a child's trinket.
It's nothing.
Right.
Nothing at all.
To this guy. His cup of coffee is worth $150 billion. He's poured scorn on Bitcoin as an asset, this according to CryptoCoinsNews.com, at a time when the decentralized cryptocurrency is valued above $10,000. At 88 years old, the now retired chairman of Vanguard Group was present at a Council of Foreign Relations event in New York on Tuesday. Now, that's like one of the big, bad internationalist
globalists
groups, right?
Illuminati.
He was there, and an audience member sought his opinion about Bitcoin. In remarks reported by Bloomberg, Bogle was sharp in his response, stating, quote, "Avoid Bitcoin like the plague." He's old. Did I make myself clear? He goes on to say Bitcoin has no underlying rate of return, pointing to bonds relying on interest coupons, stocks with earnings and dividends. Gold has nothing, he added, before quickly turning to Bitcoin again. There is nothing to support Bitcoin except the hope that you will sell it to someone for more than you paid for it, he reportedly said. So this sort of a similar comment to what the Stiglitz or whatever made earlier.
Yeah. And then Jamie Dimon months ago, and
suggesting that the only value to Bitcoin is the value of the expectation that you're hoping that the price goes up over time, that there's no other value whatsoever to Bitcoin. And of course, that ignores the fact that the value in Bitcoin is its decentralized payment network,
and it's demand versus its scarcity, and
right.
It's got its own inherent value based upon that supply and demand curve, and anybody who says that that's not the core of basic economics, really isn't paying attention.
But if Bitcoin didn't really work really well, then it wouldn't be as valuable, and that's why I'm surprised that Bitcoin is doing so well, considering the fact that the transactions some of them are getting stuck, some of them cost a lot of money.
But, there are plenty of things that don't work really well as money anymore. When was the last time you paid for a pizza with gold?
Never.
There you go. But gold still has a good value.
No, it wasn't pizza. Never mind.
You might have been able to buy some food at like the Porcupine Freedom Festival with silver, but I don't think anybody's throwing around gold.
Or diamonds. Have you ever bought anything with diamonds and you pull out of your pocket some diamonds or rubies or
nope,
anything
never
like that? See,
no.
But they still have
They're
value.
still expensive.
Then there's still a store of value. I mean, there's people that store a lot of those things and.
But with diamonds and gold, you could argue that those things are useful in the marketplace as products. For gold, you would use it in electronics for conducting things, for instance. It's pretty. People like to buy it for jewelry. Same thing with diamonds. Diamonds, of course, can cut very well, and people like them for jewelry. So there's other reasons why people want those things besides the fact that they're valued.
Paintings. Yeah. Why have an ugly old painting from centuries ago that's worth $400 million?
Numismatic value.
Collector's value.
Collector's value.
Collector's value. Yeah, numismatic value.
The fact there's only one of them, that's the real McCoy.
Well,
right?
in that respect, you have a similar scarcity of Bitcoins, and it's got a collector's value.
It does, but that's because it does what it says it's going to do. If Bitcoin did not allow you to transfer money across the world in a relatively short period of time for a relatively low fee, then it wouldn't have the same value that it does.
Possibly,
if Bitcoin had failed, and if your transactions failed 1 out of 3 times, for instance, then it would not have a $10,000 value, no matter how scarce it was. So it has to do what it says it's going to do, and it does.
Yeah.
Now it's not as fast as it once was. It's not as cheap as it once was. And so I'd like to see fast and cheap and effective, and that's what a lot of the other cryptocurrencies are doing very well.
But that's often used as an argument against things like gold and silver and for things like fiat money, because fiat money is fast and cheap.
But no, it's not. Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies are a fraction. Bitcoin's becoming less, but the rest of the crypto world, if I want to send $10,000, $1,000, $100, Western Union and MoneyGram are going to charge me through the nose to send that to not even across the world, but if I want to send it across the city, they're going to charge through the nose for that. Whereas with Dash or with Monero or Zcash or one of these other ones, you can send it for a fraction, of 2 cents.
0.0026
1 cent.
Yeah.
2 cents worth
Usually it's what a Dash.
of cryptocurrency. So there's a lot more to support Bitcoin than the hope that you'll sell it for more. Bitcoin is supported, and these other cryptocurrencies are supported by their networks, which are distributed, decentralized networks of thousands of computers all around the globe that create something that allows you to get around the banking system. There's tremendous value in that. It's Free Talk Live.
Of course.
I got my Blink home security system delivered right to my door. I downloaded the app and it walked me right through the easy setup. Even with my complicated router system, I was done in like 10 minutes. Now it notifies me whenever something moves in front of the wireless cameras, or I can just check it whenever I want right from my phone. And I got you a deal. Get 3 Blink cams for what the other guys charge you for 1, plus an extra 10% off. Visit blinkprotect.com/FTL. blinkprotect.com/FTL. blinkprotect.com/FTL.
Dash is digital cash, a digital currency designed to replace cash and help people manage their own wealth. It's fast and easy, fees are low, and transactions are confirmed instantly. Pay anyone, anywhere in the world, anytime, for just pennies on the dollar. Dash is the first digital money that's governed by its users. Join Dash and help us build a better financial system for everyone. Find out more at dash.org. That's dash.org.
Earlier this year, after many years of conflict over the direction of Bitcoin, the creators of Bitcoin Cash did just what they were told to do. They forked off. Now there are 2 Bitcoins, the one that is run by the big bank patsies, and Bitcoin Cash, the one that stays true to the creator's vision. Bitcoin Cash has surprised many with its relevancy and staying power, and the price reflects it. If you believe that Bitcoin was meant to be a low-cost, easy-to-use, peer-to-peer currency that could bring economic freedom to the world, you need Bitcoin Cash. Get your Bitcoin Cash wallet right now at bitcoin.com.
Shop online and support Free Talk Live. Every purchase you make at shop.freetalklive.com helps spread a message of liberty. From shop.freetalklive.com, you can shop at places like Walmart, Newegg, Amazon UK, Amazon Canada, Omaha Steaks, HostGator, and more. Plus, you can get discounts on web hosting, legal documents, or pretty much anything using saveatpurse.com. Just bookmark the link and help Free Talk Live while shopping online. Thank you for shopping with shop.freetalklive.com.
If you're looking for work, you know what I mean by elevator speech. It's the short version, saying just enough to make the listener want to listen more. Even if you're not a job seeker, effective communication skills have never been more important, with money and attention so scarce now. So to cut through the clutter, choose every single word as though it was the last word the person you're speaking to will hear. Otherwise, it might be. Instead of saying, due to the fact that, say, because. And avoid mispronunciations. Say jewelry, not jewelry, which could offend. Undoubtedly, you don't want to say undoubtedly. And whatever you do, never use a preposition to end a sentence with. Just kidding. For more tips, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com. Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You can bring up anything that you want. Our number here is 855-450, free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We've got Skype as well. The Skype username is LRN.FM. Some old banker guy from Wall Street says to avoid Bitcoin like the plague. We'll get into a few more of his comments here in moments. But maybe he's right. Maybe you should avoid Bitcoin and get into some of the altcoins instead. No, he's talking about avoiding all cryptocurrency. He's very afraid of
do it my way.
Right.
More coins.
There are some other options out there. In fact, there are over 1,000 other, I think 1,300 right now currently over at coinmarketcap.com if you want to look through them. But then there's the top 10, and right now, rising on the list to pass Bitcoin Gold to retake the number 5 position, Dash is back in the top 5. Dash is digital cash. It's a digital money platform designed to replace cash and help people manage their own wealth. It's fast, it can be private and easy, fees are low, and transactions are quick and can be confirmed instantly. You can pay anyone, anywhere in the world, anytime for just pennies on the dollar. And Dash is decentralized, run by users who earn rewards for helping run the network and make governance decisions. Anyone can invest in Dash and earn rewards for helping run the Dash network. Dash, by the way, at record highs of over $700. I heard it even went through $800.
Currently at $712.
$712.
And just to do a little...
there's some Dash news out there as well.
Oh?
Apparently, Dash is buying a Super Bowl ad.
Is that true? Because I'd heard they were talking about
Yes.
it. I didn't know if it was like too late to buy a Super Bowl ad because it's getting close, right?
Yeah.
Like that's January usually,
and
right?
The founder said Dash can afford a Super Bowl ad.
Isn't that amazing?
That's really awesome.
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna just to do a little experiment right now. I'm sending a Dash transaction right now, so 0.0026 cents, and let's see I'll keep a close eye on this.
002. So 26% of a cent is what you're sending. Okay.
And
a pretty small transaction.
I will keep an eye on this.
You're kind of cheap, not even 2 cents.
And we'll see just how quickly, because Bitcoin, like if I sent, like I just sent like a little over $100, not a whole lot of money, but a little over $100. Now, if I had sent that with Bitcoin, it could be this time tomorrow before it finally comes through.
If you did a low fee, then
if I did 0.0026 cents, it wouldn't come through till sometime next month.
Wait, are you saying that was the fee or that was the amount you sent?
No, the transaction fee was 0.0026 cents.
Oh,
the amount that I sent was a little over $100. Now, if I sent a little over $100 of Bitcoin to you for 0.0026 cents, it would come to you sometime next week.
Yeah.
If it didn't time
There's
out
a big backup
completely.
Right. There's a big backup in the Bitcoin transactions, and that's one of the reasons why people are using Dash. I was at the barbecue food truck here in town in Keene called Hot Hogs today. I paid for my barbecue with Dash.
Nice.
And it was super easy. And my fee was about 1 cent. 1 cent worth of Dash.
That's better than a credit card.
It's technically it's not better than a credit card because the merchant pays the credit card fee, whereas the buyer, when it comes to cryptocurrency, pays the fee on top of the cost. So if it was $7 and I paid with a credit card, it would be $7.
Well, that's
for
a
me.
great way to encourage merchants to adopt
Correct.
it.
For the merchant, it is very, very good because the merchant gets to collect 100% of their transaction, whereas the buyer has to pay a very small, with Dash, a very, very small fee. 1 cent, that's negligible. It's meaningless. It's no big deal. But Dash, you can join them and help create a better financial system for everyone. Take back control over your financial future today and find out more at Dash.org. There's a lot of momentum behind Dash right now. You go to Dash.org and you can find out why. Bogle, the man from the Vanguard Group, John Bogle, he's 88 years old. He says avoid Bitcoin like the plague. He says further that Bitcoin has no underlying rate of return. I don't really know what that means, but it seems to me like if you bought Bitcoin a year ago, your rate of return would be over 1,000%.
That's a bit better than your S&P 500.
That's a bit better than any investment basically that exists on the face of the planet.
Well, in the government regulated world.
Right. I guess there are a couple of cryptocurrencies that actually have done better than Bitcoin over the last 3 months. Bitcoin Cash actually had a larger percentage increase, and Monero and Dash actually all had larger percentage increases over the last 3 months than Bitcoin did. But Bitcoin, of course, has the largest number per unit, so it gets all the attention. And it's number one.
That's the big market cap.
In the market. Yeah. Bitcoin, according to Bogle went on to say, quote, "There's nothing to support Bitcoin except the hope that you will sell it to someone for more than you paid for it." And this was one of the things that I didn't understand at first about Bitcoin. Like, I remember when I was first introduced to it by Gavin Andreessen years ago, one of my questions, well, what backs Bitcoin? And the answer is, it seems like on its face nothing, because it's just this digital currency. You can't even hold the thing but in your hand. But what backs Bitcoin is the network that it exists on, the payment network that has thousands of nodes all around the globe, cannot be shut down. The government can't just waltz into an office with guns, put a gun to some engineer's head and have him pull equipment out of a rack and shut down Bitcoin like they could at PayPal or something like that.
It's the number of people in the network
that make it strong and make it valuable.
And there's this thing called Metcalfe's law of network effects.
What's that?
Well, it basically says that the power and value of any network, of whether it's a computer network or a network of people, is not based upon the number of people in the network, but the number of possible connections between nodes in the network. So the growth of a network doesn't grow linearly with its growth in the node population, whether that's people or computers, but exponentially because of the exponential growth in the number of connections possible between nodes in the network.
It's just a stronger network.
It's a stronger network. And that's why, one of the reasons why cryptocurrency is seeing such exponential growth in its value, because it's got that network where it's not limited to money passing through banks and central banks and payment systems like that, you have money going person to person, globally. And that's creating a huge amount of economic value in the system. That's
because you're cutting out the middleman. Yeah. Anytime you can cut out the middleman, you've got more economic value, right? Because you can get a better price.
You can deal directly with people in Africa and Asia, wherever. And it's giving value and power to that network and to the medium of that exchange.
Well, Bogle says that, quote, "It's crazy to invest in the digital asset," he said. He said further, "Bitcoin may well go to 20,000, but that won't prove I'm wrong. When it gets back to $100, we'll talk." Yeah, that seems really unlikely. As you were saying, the more the network grows, the strength, the acceptance of Bitcoin, the use of Bitcoin in the marketplace, the less and less and less likely it's ever going to go as low as $100.
I nominate him for when it reaches $1 million. John McAfee has to have some spotted dick for lunch with Mr. Bogle.
I'll buy the can from Hannaford's.
The toll-free number here is 855-450, free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. And yeah, it can seem crazy to invest in something that is as sort of dramatic in its price swings as Bitcoin. But that's why, we say, hey, if you can't afford to lose it, you shouldn't invest it in the first place. There's a lot of crazy investments out there that have really worked out for the people that have gotten into them over the years. There's more coming up here. This is Free Talk Live. You can join us.
If you or someone you care about loves outdoor adventure, then check out slingbow.com for some unique holiday gift ideas. That's slingbow.com, where we have some innovative new products for the archer, hunter, or bow fishing enthusiast in your family. Now through January, use the promo code HOLIDAY to get free shipping in the U.S. or Canada. And from all of us at Slingbow Industries, have a safe, joyous, and peaceful holiday season.
Want revenge on the common housefly? Well, after 10,000 years, someone has finally come up with a better way. The Bug Assault, a miniaturized shotgun, which utilizes ordinary table salt as ammunition. Non-toxic and no batteries required. So much fun, you'll forget you have a wife and kids. $39.95 and free economy shipping. Use discount code GCN and get an extra 10% off your purchase at bugassault.com. Makes the perfect stocking stuffer. Get your Bug Assault today.
Free Talk Live.
For the listeners, each talk show has like you're in the Joe Blow Army, or, the Ditto Heads. Do the lefties have it too?
I couldn't tell you.
Ed Heads, isn't?
Yep, Ed Heads.
Yeah, Ed Heads. So they all have them. I really want to hear from you.
I'd like to rename our listeners Mindless Free Talk Live Zombies. What do you think?
Free Talk Live automatons.
Call in if you're a mindless Free Talk Live zombie.
What does it mean to you to be left? What does it mean to you
progressive?
To be right? What does it mean to you to be conservative? What does it mean to you to be liberal? I think they're very vague concepts that pit people against one another. Many people who otherwise, in the absence of being able to plaster themselves with that label, might find out they've got an awful lot in common.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless free market non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com. Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. You may dial toll-free to join us here. We've been talking a lot about cryptocurrency and some of the attacks against it. But there's other currency in the world, like the Venezuelan bolivar, that is in the news. And as is the case with fiat money, which is, of course, the government money that we're talking about here, the Venezuelan bolivar, the U.S. dollar, the Zimbabwe, are they calling it the dollar, though, still over in Zimbabwe? These are currencies that are almost guaranteed to lose value over time because the state is in charge of them. They are the ones who decide what is circulating and how much at any given time. And, of course, it's never enough, so they've always got to print more out, which destroys the value of it, as is happening in Venezuela. We'll tell you more about that. And, of course, you can share your thoughts with us. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. With you here in the studio, you've got Ian,
Mike,
and Will.
So let's go to the phones first, though. We got Sarah. She's in New Mexico. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello, Sarah.
Yes, it was announced that the city is going to throw the smokers out of the outdoor ART bus stops.
All right. So no smoking bus stops. And I imagine that you're happy about that.
Well, you know what? My thing is, I'll believe it when I see it. Well, you know what? They could talk. They could talk like, oh yeah, right. They're gonna ban smokers out of an outdoor bus stop, like in Albuquerque. Oh, I'm only supposed to believe that.
All the smokers need to do is to say, we're addicted to nicotine, therefore we're physically disabled, and we need a special area and our own bus stops.
A special smokers bus stop.
Yes.
Smoker segregation.
I don't know. Well, the thing is that the whole argument was that we're outdoors. Everything is blown away. So I really can't believe that they're going to enforce this.
Well, what happened? I used to be a smoker, okay? I used to be a smoker not long ago.
Yeah, you just quit before you moved here, right?
Yeah. Back in September. Back in August, September, I quit. Right around the turn of the month.
You're a vapor.
Yeah, well, I mean, really, I don't really even use this very much. Like, I probably hit my vape like 10 times a day, whereas I used to smoke over a pack a day. And
you've cut it down, right?
Yeah, this is the lowest nicotine level that you can buy. So, like, I'm trying to wean myself off it altogether.
Your vaping here always drives my sinuses crazy when I.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I vape more when I'm on the air than I do any other time of the day. You see that too, don't you? Like, I rarely ever hit it, and then I come in here and I sit down and I'm just talking and not doing anything, and it's like a nervous thing with my hands. Okay. Yeah. But if that's the law, you know what I'm doing? I'm coming because, like, bus stop is like, a spot's like, 20 feet wide. Yeah, a little overhang. So what I'm doing is any day that it's not raining, which is usually a normal day in Albuquerque, New Mexico, I'm walking 10 feet away and I'm firing up my cigarette because that's where I'm going to smoke anyway, because most people who smoke don't, unless they're the only person at the bus stop.
Yeah.
Don't smoke around everybody else at the bus stop unless they see other people are smoking.
You think so? Has that been your experience, Sarah?
At least in Orlando, that was the way it was.
Was that your experience?
Well, something? Well, yeah, here in Albuquerque, the alcoholics, the panhandlers, the smokers, they sit right at the bus stop, and all of the rest of the people that are catching the bus, we have to stand 20 feet away.
So it's the reverse.
I love how you can hear the latent resentment in her voice. The smokers.
Well, the thing about it is that
She sounds like my grandfather talking about those young whippersnappers.
If you're not a drinker or a smoker, you have less of an excuse to be able to afford your own car. So, because the smokers and the drinkers, they're wasting all their income on their drinking and their smoking.
Sure.
And so, that's why they're riding the bus.
Sarah?
Welfare.
Well, you know what? That is the whole idea. The thing is that they are trying to change that. They have these drunken alcoholic, chain smokers, drug addicts, loitering at the bus all day long, smoking, panhandling. So they're going to kick them out and bring in the students, the people that are going to work and school and back.
So why do you ride the bus and not drive a car?
Well, the thing is, I never owned a car. I never have enough money to own a car, and plus, I don't like to drive. I'm afraid of driving, and I support this all-electric bus. This is completely all electric with no air pollution, fossil fuel.
So you love,
except for when they're burning coals at the power plant.
Being a sheep
to make the electricity.
It's you're happy being part of the droning herds of the mass transit.
Not everybody wants freedom.
Droning herd in more than one way, because we're drone bombing Afghanistan and Pakistan so that we can the American government is drone bombing Afghanistan and Pakistan so that we can have access to the materials in their ground that are used to make the batteries that run that great big electric bus that's so grand and wonderful.
She's claimed to be against war.
Bounce that rubble, man. Bounce it.
You have to be, if you're against war, you have to be a conscientious spender, a conscientious buyer, a conscientious consumer, and try not to support things that are going to further war. And
so you're saying she's not doing enough?
Well, if you support fossil fuels, then you support the war machine. And if you support
she doesn't drive
this whole electric,
well, she should have a horse. She is in New
everything
Mexico.
Should be electric.
You're in New Mexico, right?
Still supporting fossil fuels.
That's the state of Billy the Kid. She should be riding a horse to work.
Yeah, what's up with that, Sarah?
Instead of supporting, the Saudi government with her money, she's supporting big coal, which is oppressing and holding down coal miners in the U.S. So instead of us helping oppress Saudis with the money that she spends on oil, she's helping oppress Americans through the coal industry. I mean, you literally just took one set of dirty hands and found a way to make them dirty in a completely different way and are calling it progress. It's cleanliness,
of residents of West Virginia and Kentucky and Tennessee die from black lung.
Let her get a word in edgewise here. Sarah, go ahead.
We get our electricity here from solar panels. This is the Sunshine State. What coal are you talking about?
You're telling me that those buses are solar-powered buses, that all of the electricity
65% of the electricity consumed in the United States comes from coal-powered power plants. So, and you may have some nice solar power plants there in New Mexico, but the fact is that 65% of all the power going into those batteries on those buses comes from plants dumping massive amounts of not just carbon dioxide, but burning coal puts more radioactive heavy metal isotopes into the public environment than one coal plant does more than the entire nuclear industry put together. Mm-hmm. And these are toxic heavy metals, and that are also have radioactive isotopes in them. And you see these pools of fly ash that sometimes flood the rivers and so forth. These are the government.
I grew up in Appalachia. Yeah, it's true.
And the government allows the coal industry to sell the fly ash to the cement industry to be filler in the concrete that goes into building your foundations and your schools. And that's actually where the majority of the radon that becomes a carcinogenic hazard to families comes from, not from the natural ground.
I don't know. I do not know about all that, but I'm so excited about them throwing out the smokers.
She's got a lot of opinions for having such little information.
You're burning so much coal in your electric bus, we can call you a smoker.
Thanks for the call, Sarah. I appreciate it. I don't know. I don't know if they're actually burning coal in New Mexico. Maybe they've got some other source. But yeah, your point still stands that it's a tremendous amount of the power in the United States. The toll-free number, if you want to join us on the radio, just like Sarah there, is toll-free at 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We're going to check in on the status of the world's least valuable currency. We talked about Bitcoin, the world's most valuable currency. But what about the Venezuelan bolivar? How's it doing down there? How's the government printing press strategy working out for currency?
Great toilet paper.
We'll give you
cheaper to burn it than buy
the
firewood.
Details here in moments. You can share your thoughts with us in the remaining moments of Free Talk Live, which are coming up. Our number 855-450-FREE, like freedom.
Whether you share content as a curator or produce it as a creator, the source of your advertising revenue is often limited by intermediaries like YouTube. What if there was a way to connect content creators directly with advertisers, decentralizing attention-based market advertising transactions and putting the control back into the hands of content owners? Introducing the revolutionary Signal Token Protocol by Spective VR. Partnered with Blend Media, the largest network of 360 video content in the world, and featured on Fox Business's Innovations, Spective VR is a 360 VR streaming platform created to be the first use case and early adopter of the Signal Token Protocol, driving real use and allowing Spective to optimize their platform. SpectiveVR.com is hosting a pre-ICO for Signal tokens starting December 8th at a 40% bonus. For early access to the token sale and an exclusive 60% token bonus, sign up for the email list at SpectiveVR.com.
It's about time something new came along for better selling and buying online. And I found it.
What now, Marge?
It's buysellmakeoffer.com.
Never heard of it.
It's a brand new company. That's why you've never heard of it. It's the newest and best way to sell any products online. I did all the research.
Sell my car?
Yes.
Our home?
Yep.
My golf bag?
Your golf clubs. All of them.
How about your purse collection hoard?
Hey, now.
You said any product.
Right. I did. We get 30 days free.
Really?
Packages starting from only $9.95. And buysellmakeoffer.com will never charge item fees, ever. Never. And this is cool. Listen to this. You can even use Skype or video to show your items.
That's cool.
Yes. All we have to do is go to the website, sign up, and then load our stuff to sell. I love this site.
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. You got it?
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. Better selling, better buying.
Hi, I'm Derek J. To me, an activist's calling is to actively work to advance a cause. The cause for which I work is personal freedom. I believe my life is best when I engage in voluntary interactions and self-government. I reject the idea that anyone else has a higher claim to my life or my body than I do. I see people who call themselves the government as a threat to my personal freedom. I realize you may feel differently, but my relationship with the people who call themselves the government is completely involuntary. If Starbucks used some of its money to drop bombs, I wouldn't shop there. So why would I support the American empire? The empire does not require my consent.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. That's victimlesscrimespree.com.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that 1/10 of a calorie it takes to click on something. facebook.freetalklive.com.
In Survivor Max 2, School Bites, Max must scavenge through a wasteland swarming with the undead. Desperate to find the medicine he needs, he discovers a community of survivors at his former school. Has he finally found the safe haven he's been looking for, or will he discover that school bites? Look for Survivor Max on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, and read Chapter 1 at survivormax.com.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. Dial in and join us on the radio waves here. Bring up anything that you want. Our number is 855-450. Free like freedom. The Free Talk Live forum is available to you to interact with other Free Talk Live listeners and hosts. You can find that. It's free, by the way, over at forum.freetalklive.com. With you in the studio in this remaining segment, it's Ian,
Mike,
and Will.
So we spent most of the show tonight talking about cryptocurrency and the attacks against it by the old money, big banking people. But let's talk for a moment about the world's least valuable currency, which is the Venezuelan bolivar. Story from CNN Money. And this was written, by the way, on November 22nd. So this story is a week old. And it has to do with Venezuela's spiraling into a pit of despair caused by their socialist policies and caused by their crazy monetary policy, which is to say that they have exchange rates that are government set, meaning that the government has determined that one U.S. dollar shall be exchanged for 10 Bolivar Fuerte, the so-called strong bolivar in the marketplace. However, the marketplace has a different idea of what the Bolivar Fuerte is worth. The country here, according to CNN Money, is spiraling further into a humanitarian disaster spurred by the government's economic policies, which have caused the currency, the Bolivar, to plunge in value and prices to skyrocket. Food and medicine shortages have been reported across Venezuela. People are unable to get the most basic medicines. You got an infection? Good luck, because you're not likely going to find any kind of antibiotics anywhere around unless you happen to know the right people in the black market who have access to them. What's that you say? You want to find some chicken? Good luck. People are trying to eat their own pets and zoo animals right now in Venezuela because
the president recommended that people should be eating more rabbit.
That's right. Yep, they're planning. There's some new state plan to breed rabbits.
He does realize that there is a thing called rabbit starvation.
What does that mean?
Rabbit starvation is where your main protein and fat source is rabbit meat. Mm-hmm. And basically, you can starve to death with a full stomach because rabbit meat has such a low fat content.
And it's the same thing can happen with fish as well.
Yeah.
Wow.
That you have to have some other source of complex fats, beans, nuts, some other source, because if you don't, you literally can starve to death with a full stomach.
Perhaps the Venezuelans ought to join the World of Warcraft economy, because apparently the news is out that the fake gold in Azeroth, the mythical setting of the World of Warcraft, has a higher value
worth more
than the Venezuelan bolivar.
Yeah, the bolivar, in fact, has lost 96% of its value this year alone. As of the time of the writing of this article, it took 84,000 bolivars to buy $1 American dollar, or the reverse. If you have $1 American dollar, you could have gotten 84,000 bolivar for it. However, as I said, this was a week ago. Right now, if you go to dollartoday.com, the current price of $1 US on the black market, according to dollartoday.com, is 96,794 bolivar fuerte. You can exchange $1 US for 96,794 bolivar fuerte today. That's 1 week after it was 84,000.
Wow.
So there's an extra 10,000 bolivar fuerte between 1 week.
Pretty soon that'll be worth a Satoshi.
And the next. Actually, I believe that's pretty much like neck and neck right now. There was news about that recently, too. But according to the story here, earlier this month, the dollar was worth 41,000 bolivars. They've got a handy chart here showing that on November 1st, $1 would get you 41,000. On November 15th, it was 60,000, and November 21st, 84,000. Now here we are toward the end of the month, and it's getting very close to 100,000 bolivars per US dollar. According to the story here, earlier this year, it was 3,100 bolivars to $1, according to Dollar Today. Millions of Venezuelans look at Dollar Today or another site, Paralelo Venezuela, to find out how much money they need to buy groceries, if there's any food on the shelves at all. The government's official exchange rate has been deemed meaningless. Inflation in Venezuela has soared to 4,115%.
I'm sure that's fine with Jack Bogle.
The banker from earlier. Compared with a year ago, according to Steve. No, I'm sure Bogle would talk about how the central bank in Venezuela is mismanaging their economy, and they just need better managers with better policies to
better training. It's always better training.
Place. Yeah, hire one of his guys, and they'll take care of it. According to Steve Hanke, professor of applied economics at Johns Hopkins University, who's an expert on hyperinflation, the crisis has deepened since the government defaulted on some of its debts, which they just did within the last couple of weeks. Another one. The economy, he says, is really in a complete death spiral. It's gotten a lot worse there in just the last 2 weeks. Other estimates are lower than Hanke's, but exorbitant by any other country's standards. The Venezuelan research firm Ecoanalitica estimates that prices spiked about 1,430% in October compared with 1 year ago. Prices at hotels and restaurants were up 70% in October from the month before. Soaring prices are forcing Venezuelans to wait hours in line at the ATM, the supermarket, or both just to get by, and things could soon get worse. As we heard, of course, recently, the Venezuelan government earlier this year rolled out the first 20,000 Bolivar note, and since then they have rolled out 50,000 and 100,000 Bolivar notes.
I want a bazillion.
They're getting there. They're getting there. I don't know how many zeros is behind a bazillion, but they're working on it. By the way, both government and its state-run oil company, PDVSA, recently defaulted on some of their debts. If more defaults follow, which there's no reason why they wouldn't, investors could organize and seize Venezuela's only valuable asset, oil, in the United States. That would choke off the government's main source of cash, which it needs to import food and medicine, which, of course, it's not really doing.
How is it that Venezuela has the largest oil reserves in the world?
Yeah.
And they can't feed their people basic foodstuffs.
This is government failure. I mean, as we talked about earlier.
How bad do you have to be to screw up the most profitable industry on the planet and not be able to make a profit at it?
That's government.
That is the government.
The government can't do anything as well as the marketplace can. It doesn't have the same incentives.
Was it that Roy Acuff, I think it was Roy Acuff, one of those cowboy types said that you could put the government in charge of the desert in 6 weeks, they'd be out of sand. My other favorite thing, you said something yesterday when we were on the air, and it popped in my head, was that the worst thing about Congress is they have to convene and make decisions.
Yeah. Yeah. President Maduro, whom the Trump administration labels a dictator, demanded earlier this month that the nation's debt be restructured. The government and PDVSA owe more than $60 billion in U.S. dollars just to bondholders, and the central bank has less than $10 billion in reserves, which have slowly dwindled over the last few years as the country has paid debts. The country's liabilities extend far beyond debts to bondholders. In total, Venezuela owes $141 billion to bondholders, Russia, China, contractors, and oil service providers, according to an analysis by Moody's Investor Service. So things are getting really bad in Venezuela. People are very hungry across the country. People last year lost, I think it was 17 pounds.
They need
on
more
average.
crypto.
They do, and in fact, some people are doing very well in Venezuela because they're willing to flout the laws and run Bitcoin mining operations, which is useful for them to actually feed their families.
There's also the Venezuelan dissidents are organizing a blockchain to finance the resistance.
Wait, their own blockchain?
Their own blockchain to finance the resistance, and the ultimate goal is if they're successful in deposing the Maduro dictatorship, that blockchain will become the national currency of Venezuela.
Wow, that's a big idea. I would love to know more about that. I don't know if anybody out there is in Venezuela or has the internet access that it would take to contact us, but if you speak English and you know a little bit more about that plot, that sounds absolutely fascinating.
So I just have a cool little thing that is totally off of any topic that we've talked about. That's the second time you've done that, and I've almost all over myself both times.
It's his chair. His chair is going back.
No, I'm just too big.
Oh,
Don't know.
We just got our second major player in the Bitcoin world sponsor at the Malik Center.
Really?
Bruce Fenton, whose Bitcoin conference you and I will be going to this weekend.
I'll be there too.
That's right, Friday.
All three of us will be there.
The first ever New Hampshire blockchain conference happening in Portsmouth.
Sponsored the Malik Center for $1,000 worth of Bitcoin.
That's amazing. That's
nice.
Great news.
Just right now.
We'll be talking with him, I'm sure, from his conference coming up Friday. Tomorrow, we're actually going to be broadcasting from the Free State Bitcoin Shop. So we're going to be doing 2 days of broadcasts out in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, the other little city that could in New Hampshire when it comes to Bitcoin and Dash acceptance in the marketplace. We'll see you tomorrow night online. In the meantime, freetalklive.com.
Free Press Publications is an independent, alternative media and publishing company founded in June 2009 with the mission of ensuring a free press for the freedom movement and is committed to spreading the message of peace, freedom, love, and liberty. FPP also gives new authors an avenue for publishing freedom-oriented material. FPP brings you daily news and commentary on the website fpp.cc, as well as a daily 5-minute newscast, FPP Radio News, and weekly news, views, and commentary in the FPP Freedom Minute and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio at fppradio.com, and the monthly newspaper FPP News at news.fpp.cc. Find FPP online at fpp.cc. That's fpp.cc, as in Creative Commons.
I love My Magic Mud. I drink a lot of coffee. I had stains on my teeth. Then I found My Magic Mud, and I was told it would remove stains. So I paid attention when I brushed the first time. My Magic Mud is black tooth powder, and the difference it made in my teeth in one application was noticeable. With 4, my teeth were as white as you normal folks out there. Please go to mymagicmud.com and buy a jar. There's 150 applications for $25. You can use Bitcoin, mymagicmud.com.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
The latest episode of Declare Your Independence is next, after the news, here on the Liberty Radio Network, LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Wednesday, November 29th, 2017. Silver is trading at $16.90 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,295 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 4.3 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $10,267. Antiwar.com reports during her scheduled Wednesday visit to Saudi Arabia, British Prime Minister Theresa May says she intends to challenge the kingdom on a number of human rights abuses and in particular will demand an end to the Saudi-led blockade of Yemen. Though international aid organizations have been deeply critical of the blockade, this will be the first time a top foreign leader has demanded the Saudis stop the blockade, which has been in place for 2.5 years and is killing growing numbers of Yemeni civilians. Britain has been selling growing amounts of arms to the Saudis throughout the war, which has raised concerns among some officials that Britain is effectively complicit in the war crimes going on in Yemen. A similar concern exists with U.S. support for the Saudi war, as the U.S. has sold the Saudis even more arms and has participated directly in the conflict and blockade. This concern has been expressed by some in Congress, but so far the U.S. leadership appears unmoved to limit their involvement in Saudi actions.
For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals. Gold, silver, platinum, and palladium. They don't feed the banks. They're Bitcoin preferred and have removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage